Happy Friday, everybody. Why is my chat not updating? Let's stop sharing it. Remove. Yes. All right, let's see if we're good. We are. We're good on Rumble. I love it when that happens the first time. Due to limited bandwidth, there's a possibility. Hopefully, we're not going to have internet issues tonight. I don't know why we would have limited bandwidth. Well, if you do that, I'll lose my whole thing. All right, let's see if we can share this chat. Welcome, welcome, everybody. I saw that a few of you were here early, which I love. Pop-out chat. There we go. Let's see if I can get you guys back in here now. Share screen. My cat, Steve. You guys know Steve. He's infamous. He's already up here. He's like, oh, great. We're going to have a live stream. I love it when this happens. Yes, I'm sharing a screen without sharing the sound. Hold on. We're almost there. Anyway, happy Friday. I wish I could do two technical things at once, talk and shrink the chat, but alas, I clearly suck at that. I hope you guys had a good week. If you weren't here for Wednesday book club, it was so good. It was so good. You know how, I don't know, we're just getting into a groove. I think we're in chapter 7 now. But it feels like the book's really hitting its paces. And so if you've missed that, you can go back and check it out. Lisa Jex, hello and Happy New Year. Long time no see for sure. I took quite a break when I had my surgery. And then, of course, the holidays fit in there, and it was just crazy. Hand waving. Hi, Kay. But I'm so glad to see you guys. Hopping over to Rumble, Lisa Jex, you do that. I'm watching for you. Oh, there she is. I see her over in the Rumble chat. I don't know why my screen share is not updating. That's weird. Angel, welcome. Angel, you're new, or you're new in the chat anyway. Cheers from Oregon. That's lovely. Beautiful state. I've never been. Why is our chat not? Hold on. Let's see if we can fix it. I need a, see, it's fine here. It's showing up here. I need a tech person. There it is. It just takes a minute to update on the screen. So I hope you've had a good week. I've just been so tired all day. I've been trying to figure out why I'm so tired. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe because you're only getting 600 calories a day. That might take the steam out of your stride. I think I'll get used to it eventually. Tennessee woman, Happy New Year. Thank you so much. I hope you guys had a great holiday, your great Christmas and New Year's. New Year's for us, as we get older, we don't generally do much for 4th of July, but New Year's for us, Don came up at, I don't know why it's saying I have limited bandwidth. Don came up, and I can't remember what time it was. I was laying on the couch. He was working on Christmas presents because we did Christmas on the 1st. And he comes up and he's like, you're never going to make it. And I'm like, no, I can do it. What time is it? I'm already like laying on the couch, covered up, watching a movie, which is the sign that I'm not going to make it through the movie. And he said, it's 10:30. And I'm like, oh, crap, he's right. I'm never going to make it. I don't think I made it. I'll have to ask him. I don't remember how I got to bed or anything that night. It's kind of like your 20s. No, I was not a drinker in my 20s or teen years. I've had a couple instances where I've been drunk, but not, I mean, like 3 times in my life. And all 3 were accidental. I'm so glad to be seeing you live in Greensboro. Well, welcome. Is that Birdie? Birdie 22. Welcome, Birdie 22. Yeah, when I was, when I was in high school, Randy Noland was my best friend, and I cannot remember Liza's whole name, but anyway, Randy Noland and Liza and I were all friends. We lived in Baton Rouge, and her mom had this townhouse, and so I was going over there to stay the night, and that's all I knew, I swear. And so I'm going over there to stay the night, and I get there, and Randy, who's a girl, Randy and Liza had just gotten back from the Circle K. I know this sounds like a stupid movie, but this is what it was. They'd just gotten back from the Circle K. Her mom's going bowling that night, right, with her bowling league. And so Randy and Liza like hustle me up the stairs, and they're like, "We're going to have a party tonight." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you can't do that. Your mom won't be home. She's what?" And they're like, "Just don't say anything. Don't say anything. We're going to have a party." We went to the Circle K, and there were some guys there, and we told them they could come if they brought alcohol. They don't know these guys. They don't know how old these guys are. They know nothing about them, but they've invited them to this party. And we're like, I'm 15, right? So Randy's younger than me. So she's 14. I'm guessing Liza's about her age. And so these guys show up, and they're grown men in their 20s, and they have brought all this alcohol, right? And I'm thinking, oh, and I'm so scared we're going to get in trouble. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what if my mom calls and Miss Marie's not here? And what if Miss Marie calls? And I just was a nervous wreck. And so the guys had poured mixed Bacardi with Kool-Aid. And I want to say it was in a punch bowl. And I end up getting this big glass of it. And I thought, well, it doesn't taste much like alcohol. So it must not be that much alcohol because I'm 15 and stupid. And so I'm drinking it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it doesn't take any time before I'm just feeling horrible. And so I stop. Liza gets completely trashed, and I remember she ends up in the shower with her clothes on, and somehow we got her out of the shower. And then some boy named Prelay, I don't know, that was his name. Some boy named Prelay hustles her off to a room and has got the door closed. And the girl code is you don't let your drunk girlfriend do anything like that. Your job is to keep her from her own worst instincts. And so we're trying to get in there. We can't get in there. The party has gotten way out of control. Somebody has fallen down the stairs and I think put their head or their fist through the wall at the bottom of the stairs. And somebody has now puked on the floor in the living room. And so we do the only thing we know to do. We call our friend Preston. I'm like, Preston, you've got to come over and help us. We didn't mean to have this party, and now there's like 40 people at the house that we don't know, and we can't get rid of them. And Liza's locked in the bedroom with Prelay. And so Preston comes and rescues Liza, thank goodness, before anything happened. He manages to get all the people out of the house, helps us get all of the empty alcohol bottles cleared up. We hang a picture at the bottom of the stairs over where the hole is, hoping Randy's mom won't notice. At some point, my mother calls, and Randy pretends to be her mother. And I can't remember if Randy's mom called and checked on us or not. I don't think she did. And so we get the puke spot cleaned up. We move the couch over the top of it. And then we're just all sitting on the couch when Miss Marie comes home. And she comes home and she immediately knows. I think she went outside to the trash or something. And of course, all the trash was there with all the bottles in it. And she had to have smelled the alcohol puke on the floor. And she's like, why is the furniture moved? And we're trying to be all casual. I'm like, oh, no, you don't like it this way? We think this is great. This is so much more functional in the room. You can really move around. She's not buying any of it. Anyway, I remember just begging her not to call and tell my mom, and she didn't. But I think we weren't allowed to hang out with each other for a while after that. Bertie says, I'm so glad to be seeing you live from Greensboro. Welcome. 787 says, greetings from Idaho. Welcome, Idaho. Angel's over in the chat. I don't know if that's YouTube or Facebook. If you don't mind me asking, any goals to achieve this New Year's? Well, definitely not ever throw a party like that again. I really want to get the book finished. I keep running into all these little bumps in the road with the book. Like I was working on the book, and then I can't think, COVID, and then I had shoulder surgery, and then I had another surgery in December, and so I would really like to get the book finished. If I could get that done, I feel like it would be a year accomplished. I've got a bunch of interviews upcoming. Rebel something, AMC Rebel. Hello from Canada. Hello. So I'm hoping to get that done. Of course, I have some health goals. I want to get closer down to my ideal weight. I'm hoping that that's going to update. I don't know why my chat's not updating. There it goes. Definitely, wanting to get closer to my ideal weight. I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm at 24 pounds or something like that since December 6th, so we're getting there. AMC, it's a car. Yes, I got it. It took me a minute, AMC, but I got it. I'm like, AMC, oh yeah, that's a car. You could thank my husband that I know that. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. We're wanting to get our studio finished. That would be huge. It would be nice not to have to podcast in here with the cats, because they're disruptive and they're cute, but they're just so disruptive. So we definitely want to get the studio done, get the house reorganized, because we've got everything. We took a wall out between two bedrooms, and we've got everything that was in those bedrooms in our dining room and in our living room, and it's been there for a while. And so we're really wanting to get the studio done, get in there where we can start broadcasting outside of the kitchen. And so I'm looking forward to that for sure. But that's really it, just kind of focusing on family relationships and continuing my work with the book club. I'm so tickled to see that folks are getting so much out of book club. Hold on a second. I'm going to text Mr. Whitbroad, because it's what we like to call in Kentucky balls hot in here. It might be easier to yell at him. Sweetheart, Donald, Whitbroad. Are you naked?
No.
Okay, good. No, can you turn the fan on for me?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be? If you are, remedy that before you come in.
Okay. See?
Oh, whew.
Sweatshirt stuff.
Yeah, I'm in a sweatshirt. I was freezing all day, and so now I'm hot.
Oh, light off?
Light off, yes.
Anything else that I might get for you, my sweet girl?
Will you turn the heat back down to normal?
Okay. No, you have to have it at 69 degrees.
I was so cold, but now I'm warm.
So it worked?
Happy New Year from Tennessee, Deborah and Christopher. Thank you. Rooting for success. Really looking forward to your regular content. Yeah, so we're on Wednesdays at 10:30 for book club, and then thank you, babe. And then Wednesdays for book club, Fridays for Friday Night Live, and then once a month. That's probably going to be that first Saturday of the month. We've got Girls Night Out with me and Freaky Frida. And tomorrow is our first night for Girls Night Out. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you cannot watch Girls Night Out on either of those. We will only be on Rumble. And that's for copyright issues. We can't watch any cute little funny videos on YouTube or anything and share them with you guys and comment on them without risking copyright strikes. Generally, if you add content, you talk about the video, you can avoid the copyright issues, but YouTube's getting really squirrely with it. Like my intro music, even though I pay for Canva and I used it from Canva and they sell their music to Canva, they're now able to monetize it again on YouTube. So if you post a video on YouTube and you use those little musical clips like you heard at the beginning, someone else can monetize your video to the point that you can't even monetize it. And while I'm not monetizing on YouTube yet, I can. It just offends me as a human that someone else who made music for a site that I already paid for that music can now monetize my videos. And so we're just not going to mess with it. So we'll be doing everything on tomorrow night, and it's just for the Saturday show on Rumble only. But anyway, you guys will like Frida. She's very Kentucky, has that Kentucky twang that I love. And we just have really good chemistry, and we're just naturally funny together. And so I think you guys will get a kick out of it. I think we're going to go just for an hour since it's our first time. But you know how we do. We always say we're going to go for a certain amount of time, and then things get rolling and we end up going longer. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys had a good Christmas. If you were keeping up with me before Christmas, I made everybody's presents this year. There were a few things I bought. But so we made signs for each of the kids' rooms. Oh, and I should have uploaded those pictures. I'll have to do that for you at some point. But we made, I did acrylic pouring, and I poured these signs on, I think it's like 10 by 20 canvases. And so I did 4 of those for the grandkids. The youngest one I didn't do yet because I want her to be able to recognize her name, and she's just a baby. And so I did 4 of those signs. Then I did these little boxes that look like books, and I acrylic poured the tops of those. And so I did one of those for each of the grandsons, so 2 of those, and then 2 little ones like jewelry boxes for my granddaughters. And then I made jewelry for all the granddaughters, my daughter, my daughters-in-law. And then the guys, we just gave gift cards because, that's what they want. So anyway, it was really busy, and Don made these really cute things. Oh shoot! Hey babe, can I see the microphone?
What?
I want to show him the microphone you made.
Oh, I didn't make it.
Well, I know. He found these really cute little microphones. I know a lot of you guys have musical talents or love somebody who does. He found these little microphones. Where'd you find those, babe?
Well, first on Facebook Marketplace. Of course, it's probably all over. I'm sure all your friends on there have seen them.
He found them on Facebook Marketplace, and there was just a microphone by itself. And it's like a microphone character. The head is the microphone, and then the body is the rest of it.
So I found this round disc at Michael's.
What closer so they
craft store.
So you see the little guitar? Is that the cutest thing?
Let's plug it in. So
oh yeah, can you plug it in?
Oh, and it didn't come with a power supply, so I went to Walmart and bought this little USB power supply.
It's like $5 or $6. It's got a little clicky thing on here.
Yeah, for the button, power button.
And so he made one of these for himself and then one for our oldest two sons, because they both have music rooms. Do I need to do something over here? I know. Steve thinks he's got to be in on the podcast.
All right, now you should. It might have to. It takes a minute. There you go.
There. Oh wait. Can you see it lights up? I think you can see it.
Steve.
But anyway, it's the cutest little thing, and the little guitar is so adorable. Anyway, he made those. Oh, Angel says that my mom really loves your artwork. So super fun. I'll have to do some more videos. It's so hard to do a video when you're pouring a canvas, but I could absolutely do videos when I'm making jewelry. I just kind of had to stop making jewelry because, I mean, I've got all these bracelets and necklaces and stuff, and I'm one person. I can't wear them all. And I made little charms so that the granddaughters could switch out the charms on the necklaces. And that was my first attempt at jewelry making, but they turned out super cute. Angel, I'm glad your mom enjoys that. We've got...
Can I go now?
Yes, thank you, sweetheart. Gabby says, God bless the healthcare workers that warned the public that the pandemic was a lie. Many of them had their medical license suspended and were fired. Yeah, I was one of those people. I had to retire my nursing license or get in trouble for telling the truth. And so I retired it. It is pretty nifty. Isn't it the cutest thing? I just love it. I'm like, you have to find me one without a guitar so that when we get in the studio on the little shelves that'll be behind me, I can have that little microphone. Gabby says, doctors and hospitals are being paid over $100 per patient for getting jabs. Oh, yeah. Well, it's the same with childhood vaccinations. Did you guys know that? That they get a cut for what percentage of their pediatric population in their practice is vaccinated. And, you know, to me, to give a financial incentive to a doctor for a medical treatment is unethical. I don't care if it's a vaccine or anything else, that the doctor should be able to make the decision individually for each child, you know, and what is it, like 70 vaccines kids get now? It's absolutely ridiculous. Deborah says it's cute. I love it. Your hubby plays guitar. That's so cool. Yeah, Don plays acoustic and electric and bass. And he can play keyboard and he can play trombone. I've not heard him play trombone in a while. There's probably a couple other things he can do. He's pretty talented musically. Yeah, doctors are being paid to harm their patients. But yeah, so just speaking of health issues, I did pull some stuff to talk about that I hadn't heard about in the news. I try not to hit you guys. I figure if you're watching on Rumble, I don't know about my YouTube and Facebook folks, but I figure if you're watching on Rumble, you're pretty up on what's going on in the world, what the truth of what's going on in the world. But, you know, we still got to educate everybody else. But I try to hit on stories. Sorry, I'm getting a little cold. I'm trying to hit on stories that you haven't heard 50 times this week. Because, you know, while I might have a unique, sarcastic take on them, you can just only hear it so many times, right? So the first one, hold on, is this one. Okay. So I'm going to have to drop the chat out of here so that I wish that I could share more than one screen at a time, but I cannot. Something hopefully that Evie Mux will be bringing to us. If you do live stream, I know a lot of my folks, I know from other live streams that watch and they have their own streams. So if you're doing your own live streaming, Evie Mux is great. There's like a lot of people use StreamYard or use what's the other one? StreamYard, Restream, the one that's super complicated. What is that one? Of course, it's not going to let me. What is the one that's super complicated? Reset. Anyway, I can't think of it. OBS. That's the one that's crazy complicated. If you're my age and you don't have a lot of technical ability and you're using OBS, I feel for you because it's a nightmare. But EVMux is really good. They have great, like you can get with them and talk to them about features that you'd like, and they get them added quick. They do like a weekly town hall and tell you what's coming. I really, really like them. They're cheaper than most of the other ones, and you're able to broadcast to more channels. You're supposed to be able to integrate your chat from Rumble, which it does not work. I'm going to have to get with them because only YouTube and Facebook come across. Rumble will not come across, so I have to keep my phone open. But anyway, so I was going to tell you about this. Leprosy is on the rise in Florida. And I know we talked about leprosy a little while back, but I'm just wanting to kind of keep you guys current on it. So a 54-year-old man is diagnosed with leprosy, and a case report published this year added to a growing number of cases detected in the southeastern U.S. in recent times, which appears to be a new hotspot for the disease. It follows recent alerts from the U.S. CDC of the first cases of locally acquired malaria, meaning now malaria is it's not people bringing it from other places. It's now locally acquired. So you get people, they come here, they have malaria, they're carriers, they've had it before. A mosquito bites them, then the mosquito bites you, and bingo, now you've got malaria. Super fun. And now it's considered how do they term that? Locally acquired, because the person didn't come from another country with it. So now we've got malaria back. That'll be fun. Leprosy incidents or rates of new leprosy cases has been increasing in southern parts of the U.S. since 2000. Wonder why? With reported cases more than doubling in the southeastern United States. My guess is this is from unchecked immigration. You're not doing healthcare screenings on people that are coming through, no matter what your immigration policies are, or what your ideas on those are. I think we can all agree that people coming across the border from many times third world countries need to have some kind of screening before they can come into the country, because they have, in other countries, you got like Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, all the stands, still have polio. Africa still has polio, and the vaccine they get isn't the same as this one that we use. So they can bring their polio over here and we can catch it. And we now have polio in the wastewater in New York. So important things to know. I mean, it's crazy because they're enrolling kids in schools. They're not doing health checks. They don't have to have all their immunizations before they enroll in school. You don't know what they could be carriers of. And that's just, I mean, this is why we have rules about if you're going to get a passport and go to another country, you have to have certain vaccines. That's to protect that population and to protect you. And now we're just letting people flood across the border with no health screenings. And we're seeing Shigella in California. We're seeing leprosy. We're seeing malaria. We're seeing polio. We're seeing measles, things that we hadn't seen. And they're not talking about it because they would have to then address the cause or just pretend like they don't know what it is, which is what they usually do. Oh, Debbie says much of their family's in Florida. Yeah, I mean, leprosy's treatable and malaria is treatable, but it's not fun. And I just, it's just crazy that these diseases that were long solved with sanitation, like Shigella and leprosy, are now making a comeback here. Drug-resistant tuberculosis is really on the move. And, you've got kids in schools, they don't have to have a TB skin test before they go. You don't have to have a TB skin test when you come into the country. And so now we're getting drug-resistant tuberculosis. The other thing that we're seeing is drug-resistant mycoplasma pneumonia. So you're hearing about this white lung pneumonia in China. And in China, they have a type of mycoplasma pneumonia that is 90% resistant to any antibiotic. The mycoplasma pneumonia that we have here is very easily treated with antibiotics. And this mycoplasma pneumonia is causing this white lung syndrome, which is where the whole lung just whites out because it's got fluid and pus and all kinds of stuff in it. So you're getting little kids with not even a cough, just a high fever. Mom and dad take them to the ER. They do a chest x-ray. They've got white lung pneumonia, which is serious. And we're able to treat it. I don't know if we're seeing the drug resistant one here. Like I said, it's so hard because the NIH, CDC, World Health Organization are so dishonest with us. And they try to hold back information for as long as they can. And when you do that, it then becomes a problem because now we've got a huge problem that we could have fixed if we'd have known sooner. Thank you, federal government. And like I said, I'm an equal opportunity hater of both parties. So there's a shrinking proportion of U.S. leprosy cases are diagnosed in people born outside the country, while a growing number of reported cases appear to lack any of the typical risk factors. Those trends, wrote 3 dermatologists, contribute to rising evidence that leprosy has become endemic in the southeastern United States. So they say that, and it makes it sound like, oh, leprosy suddenly just made an appearance and now it's endemic here. It's endemic here because of the people that are coming here who are bringing it. They live here now, and so now it's endemic. I'm like, no, it's not endemic. It's coming from across the border from all these different countries, continents, Africa, Asia, all these different places, and they want to use words like endemic and not throw in the rising immigrant population is bringing back diseases that we haven't seen here. It's also known as Hansen's disease. It's a bacterial infection caused by Mycobacterium leprae and the more recently discovered M. lepromatosis. It's curable, yet neglected tropical disease, entirely treatable with the right care, but nonetheless a disease that still occurs in more than 120 countries, of which ours is now one. About 150 cases of leprosy are reported in the U.S. each year. Unique strains have been detected in U.S. patients, though most cases are people who traveled from countries where leprosy is present or endemic. Again, this is why you need good public health policy, good screening at the border. You do not want to be taking people across who have got diseases that can, just take off here. So anyway, just so you know, keep an eye on that rash. It might be leprosy. Stuff starts falling off, you go to the doctor. Yeah, doctors made big time bonuses, no remorse. My cardiologist is very awake, and he's just so troubled by all of this. And he keeps telling me about all of the 18 to 30-year-olds now that he's seeing with heart damage from the vaccine. Thank you, Summer. That's very sweet. I'm trying, taking care of myself. I got no energy, but the weight's dropping off. Gabby says the immigration policy is an extension to the World Economic Forum's agenda to attack and destroy our social fabric. It's intentional. Absolutely it is. Without question. So anyway, there's your Happy New Year. Leprosy's here. Oh, could it get any better? Okay, then we'll go on to things that, we'll try to save that one for a little bit later because it's a little bit more PG-13 or R. There's this really cool thing that they are using to get carjackers now, and it's like a grappling hook. And I saw this, and I'm like, oh, this is just so clever. I wish I had thought of it. Which one is this? Hollywood cops deploy their grappler. That's it. Okay, hold on. No, don't deploy your grappler yet. That sounded dirty. Sorry. Okay, I hope you guys can see that. Let me see if I can fix it. I gotta figure out how to do this because I hate doing this in real time. I imagine I could go into studio mode, but it wouldn't help because you still have to be able to talk. So here they are. They're going to get this guy who's carjacked. They bump him, and then they shoot out. Do you see it? It's like a Spider-Man thing, and they caught him. How cool is that? It's better than my idea than just to blow the car up, because this is why I could never be a police officer. Isn't that the coolest thing? I think we should watch that again. Nope, they're going to show it. Uh-oh, you're in trouble, buddy. They're going to get you with the spider web. Hit him and shoot. What is someone holding on to the outside of the car? What is that? It's his bumper. Well, thank God it's not somebody hanging out of the car. No, just our bumper. I just love that. I love that there's a grappling hook. Crazy stuff. But I want to know who invented this. I want to know more about it. I want to do this to someone. Wouldn't that be so cool? You've got some jerk who's like cut you off in traffic, and you just give him a little bump, and then you shoot out your grappling hook, and then you grab him, you get him out of the car. One quick throat punch would quickly remedy whatever is wrong with this person in their driving decisions. Would teach them to use their turn. I know it's aggressive. But by the time you get to them, how many people do you think they've cut off? They've really got the throat punch coming, and I think it's a corrective move. You're going to save lives. So I encourage it. You see somebody driving like crazy, bump them, deploy your grappling hook, pull them out of the car, throat punch, put them back in. Don't be rude about it. Be nice. Hey, buddy, you drive like an idiot. Throat punch. I'm going to put you back in your car, let you recover, and hopefully you'll go and sin no more. I think Jesus would approve. Just me. Coffin, hi. Gabby says it's not just with humans. Our federal agencies are looking for and making up reasons to slaughter millions of chicken. Yeah, we've talked about all that. They're blowing up the food processing plants somehow. There's no curiosity as to why this is going on. Just like there's no curiosity about Chinese balloons, and there's no curiosity about tax on electric places, power grids, things like that, huge hacks into our healthcare system. We had, I want to say it was in October of last year or the year before, I guess. There was the biggest attack on a medical system in the United States history, and it happened to my medical system, Catholic Healthcare Initiatives. And hackers took it over with ransomware. Thank you, Tempest. They took it over with ransomware. The doctor's offices and the hospitals were just crippled. You couldn't get an appointment. You had to go up there. Their phones wouldn't work because that was all tied into the system that got hacked. The medical records, they had to shut down their whole new medical record thing, or their old one, go to a completely new system, hand move everything over individually, print up charts because they couldn't do anything it just was crazy. It was months. I couldn't get anything done for my brother in that amount of time. We both go to the same practice. But yeah, malicious hackers, and it took months to straighten out. And we're just gonna not talk about it. And I mean, these are newsworthy things when you have people from other countries, engaging in cyber attacks, and it's only getting worse. And we're just not going to do anything. We're not going to harden our infrastructure. We're just going to let it happen. They've gotten into water treatment plants before and tried to mess with the amount of chemicals, which would have poisoned thousands of people. But that it got caught, But, what happens when it doesn't get caught, when you're working with a municipality that isn't quite as secure? I don't know, but, none of our infrastructure people are talking about it. I keep hearing all this money is going to improving our infrastructure. Mayor Pete keeps telling us this. I'm not seeing anything happening. If you're seeing infrastructure improvements, let me know. Send me a link, because I don't know where all this money's going, but I'm not seeing it. And this is Democrats and Republicans alike. Republicans are a lot of talk. They like investigations and showmanship during the investigations. They like to get out there and talk big, but then nothing really happens. I guess we are probably going to see a subpoena for Hunter Biden. It was funny. I was talking to my family about this over the holiday, and most of our family is liberal. And my son-in-law just thought it was ridiculous that they were going after Hunter Biden, and who cares about Hunter Biden? Of course, he doesn't know all the ins and outs of it. But I was telling him, he's like, well, that's just crazy that, these other two people didn't show up during the Trump hearing, and he didn't know the names. And I'm like, Bannon and Navarro. And he's like, yeah, yeah. And they didn't get in trouble. And I'm like, actually they did. They were arrested. They had to go to court and they're facing jail time. And he was like, oh, and he didn't know that. And I'm like, so why should it be any different for Hunter? And he couldn't disagree at that point. But it's just funny how much they don't know. And they think they have a lot of information, but if you don't have it from the right sources, it doesn't really matter. Do you think this administration is just, I think this year, here's what I think is going to happen this year. I think it's going to get a lot worse. I think they're going to get more blatant about abusing the general public. I think the IRS is going to become more and more aggressive. If you didn't know, there's a new IRS thing that went into effect that all PayPal and Venmo and Cash App, all of those people were trying to stop because they're like, this is crazy. You're not giving us enough time to do it. And what it is it used to be, unless you made $20,000, it cumulative across a year from any number of sources in Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. I don't know what other ones there are. As long as it was under $20,000, they didn't have to issue you anything. So say you sold your dishwasher for $1,000 and you sent your husband $200 for a birthday present or whatever. None of that mattered unless it got to the point of being over $20,000. Well, they're telling us they're working for the little guy, but here's the thing they did. So now, if you have pulled in cumulatively $600 in a year, you're going to be getting a statement from PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whoever you're doing those transactions through. You're going to get a statement, and now you have to figure out how to claim that on your taxes. Well, my husband and we split the bills, and so I send money he'll send me, this was this much, and I'll send money for that. And we don't split all the bills. We split like the internet bill, podcasting bills, things like that, because that's my thing. But yeah, so if you sold something on PayPal, or you've had friends send you money for dinner over Cash App or Venmo, and that amount over the year has crawled up to $600, you're now going to get a statement. So good luck with that, figuring out what to do with it. And so I think that the tax system is going to be weaponized against us. I don't even know how the IRS is going to handle all those claims, because apparently they can't handle what they've got now. I think they just should defund them. But I think the FBI is going to get worse and worse. The CIA is going to get worse and worse, and we're going to be the target of that. I think, where they're going after journalists and people that never even entered the Capitol, people who weren't even at the Capitol or in Washington, are being hunted down and arrested. You've got people who've been sitting in jail for years now, still haven't gone to court. It's just a complete violation of civil rights. And I think all of that's going to get worse. The thing that gives me some hope is it's all falling apart. It's all coming out. It's getting so bad that even people who have no sense are getting irritated. And I think they're overplaying their hand. And I've been saying that for 2 years now. You're overplaying your hand. You're going to wake people up. And we can see that in the polling now. You've got a lot of people that are going to spite vote for Donald Trump just because they're so upset at how the Biden administration has handled things, how they will not accept any accountability, how they will just flat out lie to us. And I'm not saying that's any different than any other administration. I'm just saying this administration is pitiful at keeping it a secret. Or maybe they just don't even care to try to keep it a secret anymore. I don't know. I just think it's all dark and evil. I can feel the heaviness of darkness over politics in general. You just had that video come out of that staffer having relations in one of the congressional conference rooms and posting it on an inappropriate website. I'm trying to keep my language clean because it's still before 9. And I don't know if your babies are listening. But, and he comes out, and does he apologize? Does he say, is he humiliated, embarrassed? Does he go into hiding? No, he goes right to Twitter, and he's like, it's just terrible to be, maligned, or whatever word he used, because of who you love. And I'm like, you think that's what this was about? Nobody cares about who you love. We do care about who you love on video in a congressional conference room. I mean, I care about that. This is not, and it was in Amy Klobuchar's chair. And I'm like, can you imagine being Amy Klobuchar and seeing that video? I mean, just put yourself, okay? You see a video from your own workplace, okay? You work at, I don't know, Central Bank, and you see a video from your own workplace. It gets leaked, from some kind of inappropriate website, and two people, I don't care what their persuasion is, or what the sex of the two people is, they're doing it in your chair across your desk. Is there enough Lysol for that? I don't think there is. I think I'm going to need a new chair. I'm definitely going to need a new desk. I think the carpet around all of that is going to be a little, I mean, I just, and I don't know if it was just one video or more than one, but ew, it's not because of who you love. Nobody gives a rip that you're gay. And I love that they think that we're that small. They think that we're that small-minded, it's kind of like the Claudine Gay thing with the is that her first name, I think, with the Harvard thing. She goes on, she can't just write a resignation letter. I mean, a resignation letter should not be more than one page. She writes this like 7-page letter. And it's so funny because she's resigning as president, but she's keeping her professorship and she's keeping her presidential salary. So technically, she has to do less work and has less responsibility. This is a win-win for her. And plus, she's going to write books and whine on every TV show. And, ultimately, this will make her career. But anyway, for her, this is not, the plagiarism is a non-issue. For the people she plagiarized from, they're like, oh no, this isn't really plagiarism. This is just failing to attribute somebody else's work in your writing. And I'm like, right, that's plagiarism. I went to college. Had I done that, I would have been expelled. That's plagiarism. And it's sad that a professor and a president of Harvard University cannot understand the definition of plagiarism and not keep herself from doing it, because of the only 10 papers that she has had published, I think 40% of them had plagiarized material in them. And some of them were before the internet. So she had to actually look it up in a book and type it, right? So that wasn't I copied and pasted and accidentally forgot to put quotes around it. That's, I'm looking right at it, typing it word for word, knowing I didn't think of this thing that I'm typing. And she thinks this is all just fine. And it's because she's Black. That's what it is. People want to kill her because she's Black. And, I'm sure she does get death threats, but all of us that do this kind of like even podcasting, have gotten death threats. I've gotten death threats, 2 of them. But you just realize that these people are just stupid and they're not really intending to kill you. You can kind of tell it's just people mouthing off and doing it anonymously and things like that. Now you do get people that are more serious and are sending details of how they're going to do. That's different. But just general hatred and ire spewed your way, because what initially got her in trouble was that she said that it was only against the honor code at Harvard for people to call for the killing of Jews, and this doesn't matter about Palestine and Israel. This is just this particular kind of language. Is it okay? Is it all right with your honor code for students to scream for the genocide of people, no matter who they are? And she's like, well, it depends on the context. Okay. I mean, when you guys go to your job, can you scream for the death of people as long as your context is okay? No, you cannot. And I don't care which side it's on. Genocide is wrong. And I won't get any further into it than that because people have such strong opinions on both sides, and I have my own opinions. I think it's a much more gray issue than people think it is. But, what do I know? I'm not a huge geopolitical brain. I know health stuff. Okay, let's see. We did the grappler, which I loved. Can't do that one yet. Oh, yeah. So you guys know of my hatred for EcoHealth Alliance. And the reason I hate EcoHealth Alliance, if you guys are new and you maybe don't know who they are, hold on. This one. If you don't know who they are, EcoHealth Alliance is the organization run by Peter Daszak. Let me reset this. That funded the Wuhan lab and their research. Good Lord, see if we can fix this. I can't find the other end. Oh, it's way over there. Anyway, so there's a couple reasons I hate them. One is the whole COVID thing and everything that they did to us and how they lied about it and tried to cover it up. And, I will not be satisfied until I get a message from the Lord that Fauci is burning in hell, or that he's been jailed. I won't be satisfied short of one of those two things. And anyway, he was working in collaboration with them. Hi, Eric. He was in cahoots with them to kind of keep the whole thing quiet, pretend like we weren't funding it, pretend he didn't know anything about it. Lies, 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 lies. And the other thing that really bothers me that a lot of people don't know that I have tried to bring to the attention of every big podcaster you can think of and cannot get any traction on it is they got over $1.5 million in PPP funding. So most of their operations are outside the country, but they have a small office in New York. And most of that was closed down during COVID pretty much. Well, it's not enough that they got all the money from the Department of Defense and from DARPA and from the NIH, multiple military contracts. That's not enough. They had to take money that was meant for small businesses who were just going under during COVID. They took 1.5 million of that loan money. Not only did they take 1.5 million of that loan money, but they took it and it was forgiven. They don't have to pay it back. So they gave us a disease that shut down the country, gave us a vaccine that injured how many people? We had to pay for all that, plus give them $1.5 million in funding meant for small businesses and forgive what they owe on that. And this happened with Dominion voting system as well. Dominion voting is in, I think, are they Arizona or Colorado? Arizona, I think. But Dominion voting system got over 1.5 million in PPP funding, even though they're paid in full by contracts with the governments that they contract with. They get paid out of that. So I'm not exactly sure why they needed PPP funding when their business model is paid in full by the work that they do. And there's others, Ilhan Omar's husband's business, who she funnels all kinds of money to. He got, I can't remember how much in PPP funding, got it forgiven. So politicians' families were even taking advantage of this. And I go down our street and see all the businesses that are closed down that couldn't qualify. And it just guts my soul. I'm like, that was not your money to take. Good evening, my dear friend. Yes, Eric is my dear friend. Greetings from beautiful northern Arizona desert. I hope you and Don are doing well and have a blessed year. Thank you, Eric. Love you whole big bunches, buddy. Do a podcast on the World Economic Forum and what they plan to do to us by 2030. We've been talking about it, Mallory. Their plans to have health IDs, to do the smart cities, to make sure that you have nothing and you're happy about it, eating bugs, mandatory vaccines. Our government is trying to give over our sovereignty over how we handle pandemics. Several governments are trying to do this around the world, to the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, so that we would have to do what they say or risk NATO coming in to enforce it. That's actually going on. And people just aren't aware, but we do talk about a lot of that stuff here. We haven't talked about it in a little while because I've been gone, but so let's go to this. Shady research organization linked to COVID lab leak is still receiving $25 million in U.S. taxpayer money despite trying to defraud the DoD. And here's the interesting thing. I was not thrilled about the help with the student loans because I'm like, if you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's just the way it is. But now that I've really looked at it and seen all the money that is wasted and spent on just dark, awful things that don't benefit the people of this country. I'm like, you know what? If we can waste all this money throwing money at wars that we don't need to be a part of and that we shouldn't be intervening in, throwing all this money at this research organization that has been found to be corrupt um, and unethical and dangerous, I think we can help these kids out with their student loans. I think there should be strict rules on that. I think that you should have to keep a C average. You should have to have 90% attendance in all of your classes. So you can't just be there partying. You have to graduate. If you don't graduate, you have to pay it back. And you have to get a degree in a field of need. So basket weaving, gender studies, that's not going to work. We need welders. We need doctors. We need, business people, things like that. Under those circumstances, I would actually be totally okay with helping out with student loan repayment because I just see these kids are drowning in it. And when the economy is so bad, it really hurts them. Having my kids all 30 and under, most of one's a little bit over 30, but pretty much, 30 and under, I can see how hard this has been on them, and they're hardworking. And it's almost impossible for them to get by. And I just see how much money we waste. And I'm like, well, if we're going to waste all that money on people who aren't even, illegal immigration, if you're going to give each of the immigrants coming across the border $5,000, we didn't do that for the people in Lahaina, Hawaii. We didn't do that for the people in East Palestine, Ohio. But we can give it away to people that have basically no rights in this country, no citizenship. It's just insane. Hold on, I'm getting behind here. Yes, Gabby, I agree with all that. We've been talking about that. Lady Jack says, I sent a message about a podcast, not sure it's sent. Did you email it? I'll look for that when we're done. Okay, so the EHA, EcoHealth Alliance, has been awarded at least 8 grants totaling more than $32 million. Grants awarded after the pandemic involved animal-borne pathogens in Asia. So EcoHealth Alliance, the controversial organization at the center of the COVID-19 pandemic, has continued to receive taxpayer money to study contagious animal-borne viruses in Asia and Africa. Because who cares about, this is what gets me. We do so much crap in Africa for all of this DEI here and all of this racial unrest that's going on here. I don't want to hear it. And these people who are so upset about it have no problem with what's going on in Africa. We are using African people as slaves to mine cobalt and lithium. They're going to end up with horrible cancers. There's babies out there doing this. Chinese countries use people as slave labor, but supposedly we're all woke and we want equity and equality, and as long as we can get our iPhones cheap. I just don't want to hear it. It's just such double talk. Records from the government's USA Spending database show that EcoHealth Alliance has been awarded at least 8 grants totaling $32 million from the Department of Defense since 2017 for projects involving experiments with coronavirus, Ebola, and MERS. And what's interesting about Ebola is I've been watching the Ebola and Marburg. Those are both hemorrhagic viruses. I've been watching the outbreaks of those. And interestingly, they always seem to be near these mobile labs in Africa. Do with that what you will. EHA, led by British zoologist Peter Daszak, is a New York-based organization that has funneled taxpayer dollars awarded from the NIH to China's Wuhan Institute of Virology for gain-of-function research. There's Peter Daszak and the evil Dr. Fauci himself. This chart is great. Recent U.S. taxpayer-funded animal experiments in China from 2015 to 2023. So you've got Peking University drilling holes into mice skulls and injecting viruses into their brains before being killed and dissected. University of Southern California is funding that. And so what they do is they do this pass-through organization. Makes it harder for the taxpayer to figure out what's going on. So instead of sending the money directly to EcoHealth Alliance, which they do some of, they do a pass-through organization like a university, and then the university dispenses the funds. And so then you don't know about it. Now we've got some journalists who've gotten wise to that and are FOIA requesting information from the universities, which you can do because they get state funds. It's above. Hold on, I'm looking, Lady Jex. We watch a podcast that might be very interesting in this. It's called Five's a Crowd. They cover secret organization, conspiracy theories, and fun stuff. I'll check that out. I also, do you guys watch Zach's Red Pill 78 is his channel name. Zach Payne does a show called, it's on Badlands, called something Baseless Conspiracy Theories. Great show. He does such a good job with that. If you guys don't follow Red Pill 78, he's wonderful. I recommend you follow him. Gabby says Lancet, a medical journal, no longer has any credibility. No, they do not. Bill Gates is a wanted man in many, yes, he is, many African countries for unethical deals. Yeah, I mean, most of the polio cases that happen in Africa are on account of Bill Gates. They've done experiments on kids with meningitis, killed them with the drugs, forged signatures of consent, and then lied about it, and then tried to intimidate families from coming forward. I mean, it's just crazy. They've found HCG in tuberculosis vaccines in Africa, which cause women to become sterile. A church there had the vaccines tested and brought that up, and they were just pushing these vaccines. I think it was for TB. I might not be right about what the vaccine was for, but there was HCG, which is human chorionic gonadotropin, which is a hormone that's secreted when you're pregnant, and they were putting it in the vaccines to cause an immune reaction to it, so that if a woman became pregnant and started secreting HCG, her body would attack the baby and she would miscarry. Again, no trouble for that. Africa is our guinea pigs. Africa, the Philippines, I mean, you name it. China Medical University and Kunming Medical University, creating mutant malaria strains, injecting them into mice and feeding the mice to starved mosquitoes. What could go wrong? Wuhan Institute of Virology, drilling holes. I don't know why this all involves drilling holes into skulls. Drilling holes into the skulls of mice, rats, and tree shrews to inject herpes virus into their brain. Cutting out baby mice brains and slicing them up for analysis. Collecting dangerous avian flu viruses from China wet markets and forcing them up the noses of mice and guinea pigs. Infecting mice with tuberculosis, killing them and dissecting them. Testing an experimental hepatitis and HIV drug on primates. And there's a lot of organizations that are calling for these animal studies to come to an end because they don't actually yield that much good information when it comes to humans. And because we have all of this computer AI generation, things like that, a lot of this work can be done on the screen. It doesn't have to take place and be done to animals. I realize we do need some animal testing, of course. Additionally, documents released this week appear to show Daszak and several other researchers attempted to mislead the DoD in 2018 about efforts to conduct risky experiments in Chinese labs with more relaxed safety precautions than labs in the US, and I've read those emails. The experiments would have seen researchers engineer spike proteins to infect human cells that would then be inserted into SARS-CoV backbones. What is the reason for doing this besides creating a supervirus? And you know what we're seeing now? Now we're seeing trifecta infections, right? So, yes, I have seen patients in the hospital who will test positive for flu and RSV. It happens. It's not crazy common. It may be more common than we think because a lot of times when we test you for flu, if you're positive, we don't test for anything else. So there could be other viruses in-house too that are causing trouble in body, or bacterial infections, things like that. But we're seeing this really crazy high instance of people being hospitalized, like with COVID, flu, and RSV, all at the same time. You just don't see that. My granddaughter recently had hand, foot, and mouth disease, COVID, and strep throat. And I'm like, I'm telling you, these vaccines have done something. They're affecting broad immunity. And so now you can't fight off just basic stuff. I mean, hand, foot, and mouth disease is not a serious thing. But, when you add RSV and strep throat to it, or COVID and strep throat to it, it becomes pretty serious. And especially if you've got a child who's immune compromised, has cancer, has, some other respiratory issue, this becomes a real big problem. We're also seeing really severe enteroviruses. Enteroviruses are generally stomach viruses, but they can go on and cause acute flaccid myelitis. And so my daughter and granddaughter recently had a really, really bad stomach bug. We had it too. And I told her, make sure that you watch Sophie for weakness after this, because we're seeing some of these enteroviruses progress onto acute flaccid myelitis. So something you always want to watch out for. So in a statement Tuesday, EcoHealth Alliance called the documents incomplete and said the allegations are false based on misunderstandings of edits and comments on the document, and based on misleading out-of-context quotations and a lack of understanding the process by which federal grants are awarded. So Peter Daszak, the guy who's funding all of this research, knows all about it, is trying to keep it a secret, along with many others, is the guy that Fauci taps on the shoulder to go over and investigate the lab where he's paying for this research. And imagine what they found: nothing. They're like, no, everything was fine. It's all fine. It looks great. It's just great over there. So anyway, of course, he lied so he could get more funding, so he could cover Fauci's ass. And that got him more funding. As you see, it worked out. He did his part. And so now he continues to get his money. And that's how it works. And that's disgusting. Makes me so mad. Conditioned, brainwashed into thinking that real wars only take place when conventional. No, I think most everybody here is pretty aware. The jabs are bioweapons. Of course they are, yeah. Unconventional weapons being used against civilians. Absolutely they are. Oh, yeah, they're trying to kill you. You know what's so funny is I've heard people say that for a long time. And I was just like, well, that's a little dark, that's a little, I don't think it's that far, why would it doesn't make sense that this would be what's going on, because why would these people want to destroy the country? Well, now, of course, I understand why, because we want one world government and currency, and we want to control everybody, and we want to, these people want to live these high and, high rolling lifestyles, and basically just use us as their slaves until they can, get rid of some of us. And I used to think that was a really paranoid, goofy thing to say. I don't know how you can come away with any other interpretation at this point. I mean, you go back through just the history of vaccines, combine them all together for all time, and you do not have the magnitude of problems that you have with the COVID vaccine. It's markedly worse than everything combined, everything. And we've had some crappy vaccines come out. And I just am amazed that people keep going and getting boosters. I think we have like a 18% uptake rate for the new booster. And I was amazed that 18% of people still fell for it. I'm like, really? And they'll go and they'll get them. And then they're like, oh man, I've got the flu so bad. I mean, I don't even do the flu shot. I'm allergic, but that's not the only reason I don't do it. I don't do it because everybody I know that gets a flu shot, or so many people that I know that get a flu shot, then get the flu. And so there's this, they try to put this out every year. The flu shot does not give you the flu. No, of course it doesn't. But it does hit your immune system so hard that if you're exposed to the flu in the month or so after you have a flu shot, you catch it and you get really sick. And the whole thing is, well, but you would have died if you hadn't had the vaccine. Really? They're doing that with the COVID vaccine. They're saying, I heard somebody say it the other day, well, look at how many lives were saved by the vaccine. And I'm like, really? Because when we were giving hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin and people were getting better, all I heard was correlation doesn't equal causation. Those people would have gotten better anyway. But with the vaccine, correlation equals causation, according to the government. So everybody who got a COVID shot, who got COVID and didn't die because they got that shot. And I'm like, well, maybe they didn't die because 99% of the people who get it don't die. Just a thought. You can't credit that to the vaccine because you have a 99% survival rate on the virus. It's just, the whole thing is just crazy. Mallory says, I know they're trying to kill us. I would have just thought that was the most crazy paranoid thing to say, but I absolutely agree with you. And it's so sad that I agree with you on that. I think I had one more. Nope. I don't have a ton tonight. We probably won't go much over an hour. Okay, so it's 8:30. I'm trying to save that one story for very last because I don't want to freak out your babies. Um, okay, let me share this one. This one's on melatonin, and I think it's important because a lot of people are giving their kids melatonin, and I do not think melatonin is safe for children. Um, and we're going to talk about why. Are you taking too much melatonin? Experts reveal safe levels of the sleep supplement as 2 children die from overdoses. Now, I've never heard of an adult dying from melatonin. I'm bringing this to your attention in case your kids or grandkids are taking it. Melatonin, hold on, I don't want to read the bullets. Let's go down. Experts have sounded the alarm about sleep supplement melatonin as use skyrockets in the U.S. and led to a spike of overdoses in children. Melatonin, an over-the-counter sleep supplement, has surged. So your pineal gland in your brain makes melatonin, and under 40, it makes adequate amounts of melatonin, especially in childhood. Generally, if children aren't sleeping well at night, it's because they're not moving enough during the day or because their diet or their screen time. Melatonin is not the first thing I would jump to. I would make sure those kids were tired when they went to bed. Run them around. This is not safe. Estimates suggest that the adult use has increased fourfold, and more than half of parents have given it to their kids. The vitamin pill, available for $10 per bottle of 30 pills, are said to mimic the effect of natural melatonin, a hormone produced by the body in response to darkness. This is what I'm saying. If your kids are having trouble sleeping, you've got to monitor that screen time. I mean, I wouldn't let them have any screen time after dinner, or they're not going to sleep well at night. The substance tells the brain it is time to sleep by slowing heart rate and lowering blood pressure. Slowing heart rate and lowering blood pressure. Can you see where this might be a problem in little kids? However, melatonin products, which are unregulated by federal authorities, as if that would make them better, often contain far higher doses of active ingredient than labels suggest. We've actually found this in prescription drugs as well. The supplement has been linked to a 500% increase in overdoses in kids over the past decade. Sleep experts have warned that demand for the supplement has gotten out of hand, and excess can put adults and kids at risk of nausea, vomiting, grogginess, poor cognition, changes in heart rhythm, and even dementia. You've got to keep those doses low. And if you've got a heart problem, I would be something I would discuss with my cardiologist just to make sure what he feels like is a safe dose. Make sure he's even aware of this. You'd be surprised at the amount of things that doctors just don't hear about. What's more, experts say that even if the quantity is what is said on the packet, people tend to use too much. Dosages range depending on the brand, but doctors told Daily Mail that adults should stick to 5 milligrams per day. I think you could probably go more than that, but you need to titrate up, things like that. However, on Amazon, bottles on sale claim to provide 60 milligrams in a single tablet. That's a lot, more than 10 times the recommended amount. Children, meanwhile, should stick to 0.3 to 1 milligram. That's a low dose. That would even be a dose probably hard to find. A 2022 report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that the number of children being hospitalized after ingesting melatonin increased 530% from 2012 to 2021. And I guarantee you that a lot of the reason that these kids are on these drugs is because they're on ADD stuff and they can't sleep, or they're having too much screen time and not enough physical activity and can't sleep. The data also showed that 2 children died from overdosing on the supplement. Both children were under 2 years of age, with the youngest just 3 months old. Who is giving melatonin to toddlers and infants? Stop it. It is not exactly clear what happened in the body to cause the deaths, but experts have suggested heart rhythm problems. Yeah, I'm guessing you just get a SIDS death, basically. Last year, researchers at the University of Colorado analyzed data from 993 children from 1 to 13 years old and found use of the hormone significantly increased with age. Parents reported that nearly 1/5 of children, 19.4%, ages 10 to 13 took the supplement. Additionally, 18.5% of children age 5 to 9 had taken it. Lead author Dr. Lauren Hartstein, fellow in the sleep Sleep and Development Lab at Colorado Boulder. We hope this paper raises awareness for parents and clinicians and sounds the alarm for the scientific community. We're not saying that melatonin is necessarily harmful to children, but much more research needs to be done before we can confidently state that it is safe for kids to take long term. And here is my feeling on most things. If there are lifestyle changes that can be made that will improve sleep, that's always the first thing you should do before going to a supplement or to a drug. Especially in little kids. Their brains are developing. You don't know the long-term effects of melatonin in little kids. Anyway, you can see the chart there. Trends in reported weighted prevalence of overall melatonin use and melatonin use greater than 5 milligrams a day among adults. And you can see how those numbers have gone up. Percentage of parents who have given their children melatonin at least once, 46% for a child under the age of 13, 30% for a teen 13 and older. Crazy, crazy. Anyway, be watching that. Be careful. There are other ways to get your little ones to sleep besides melatonin. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to catch up with comments here. I wish they were showing. Oh, they won't show up because I don't have it up on the screen. Yeah, he's long been pushing zero population. We're now in World War III. It's been taking place for 3 years. Yep. Brainwashed, 2 million civilians. Yes. Are you aware of Karen Kingston, Dr. Sam Bailey? Yes, acutely aware. Nurse Penny, we must all consider it's a moral imperative to spread the truth. Yes, it is. I just posted a comment in the comment section on how to spread the truth whenever we are out and about. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. book, The Real Anthony Fauci. Yep, I read that and we went over it. Yep, I think Gabby, I think we're all on the same page there. We know all the same things, basically. I started actually podcasting in 2020 when I got sick with COVID and have brought tons of material since then. But anyway, that's the melatonin thing. I wanted to let you guys know that because I didn't know if maybe your littles or teens are taking them. And I just wanted you to be aware that they've seen some overdose. Angel says, thank you very much for the content tonight. Gotta run. Stay blessed. You too, Angel. Hang in there, sweetheart. Good idea, Mallory Schrock. Hi, Miss Debbie. And they sell them as yummy candy gummies. Yes, they do, don't they? The plastic jars of melatonin do not have childproof lids. Yeah, be careful about that too, because a lot of people buy chewable melatonin. If you don't have a childproof lid, people may not realize that's something that can kill your child. We use the melatonin gummy candies before bedtime. Yeah, I've taken it before. I've kind of gone off it because I've gone to black seed oil capsules because they're good for so many things. And I find those really help me sleep. So if that's something that helps you guys, I can't remember what brand it is. Okay, so here's one. We did that. Let's talk about some diet things. Plant-based sandwiches. Let's talk about those. There it is. And I hate that it pops over to the other screen. Okay. Plant-based sandwiches, salads, and pizzas are not healthier than meat options, study reveals. I've been saying this for a long time. Most people see the New Year as a chance to kickstart a healthy eating program and maybe even give veganuary a go. Have you guys heard of that? Veganuary a go. But vegan fast food meals do not have less calories than their meaty counterparts, a study suggests. Not even that they don't have less calories, it's that they're so highly processed. It's a processed food. Researchers analyzed a total of 1,868 meals, including sandwiches, salads, noodles, and pizza, from 50 fast food chains across 5 countries, including the UK. These chains included Wagamama's, Pret, Pizza Express, Leon, and Burger King. The team collected data on the calorie content, presence of allergens, and the quantities of nutrients, fiber, and salt in each meal. Is this Daily Mail? Yeah, I was wondering because of the spelling of fiber. Their findings published in the journal Nutrition revealed that plant-based meals had less protein and sodium and higher levels of carbohydrates and sugar compared to meat-based meals. But in bad news, for those trying to shed some pounds, they discovered that overall, plant-based meals were not linked with having less calories. Our findings revealed that plant-based fast food meals were more likely to contain more carbohydrates and sugar than their meat-based equivalents. If you have to eat a fast food burger with the pink slime in it, get it without the bun. You're going to do far better as far as calories and nutrition than you are going to with a veggie burger. Now, if you're making your own veggie burgers, that's a different story. You're smushing the beans yourself and mixing all of that. That's different. I'm talking about the junk you buy at fast food or pre-made in the freezer section. Surprisingly, our study shows that plant-based meals are not associated with lower calories, which consumers may not realize. This really emphasizes the importance of making informed food choices, especially when it comes to consuming fast food. I'm not so much worried about calories if you're sticking to a low-carb diet. Eat until you're full with protein and fat, good fats. Keep your carb count under 50 and you're fine. You're going to get full on protein and fat, and you generally don't have to watch the calories. That's the beauty of a ketogenic diet, or a lot of people do carnivore. Carnivore is a little too restrictive for me, and I notice my hair falls out if I don't get at least 30 grams of carbs a day. I need about 50 to keep my hair from falling out. So if you're doing keto or carnivore and your hair is falling out, you might need to up your carbs a little bit. And I would do that with good solid vegetables, berries, things like that. It exposes the illusion that plant-based alternatives of popular fast food dishes are automatically a healthier choice. The findings also showed that the meals containing meat were more likely to have allergens such as dairy, eggs, fish, shellfish, and mustard, while plant-based meals more likely contained allergens such as sesame, seeds, and nuts. So be careful if your kid has a nut allergy when you're doing these, or you have a nut allergy and you're consuming these vegan things, because they can have cross-contamination. Anyway, it gives advice on your diet there, which I would never take from the government, which I'm assuming is where that advice comes from. The government is not trying to help you out with diet advice. They want you fat and unhealthy. My comment section, use it to print out cards. Feel free to modify. Bill Gates is trying to reduce the chicken population. Yes, he is. What's the trending post on your screen about? Vegetarian diets make women horny? I didn't see that. Hold on. That might be something we might be willing to bite the bullet for that. Give me a veggie burger and I'll jump your bones. I am not seeing it. Flu and COVID, pile pressure. Hold on. I'm looking to see if it's in one of the side things. Where did you see this? I think Lady Jex has got something else on her mind. I am not seeing that. Not even on the side comments. What should a balanced diet look like? Okay, I think she just made that up. She's messing with my head. God love that woman. All right. Okay, so did you guys watch... every once in a while, I'll watch Jesse Waters. Not because I think he's a great journalist or TV host. I just think he's kind of stupid and funny, and he's cute. To me, it's more, Tucker used to be on at that time, and Tucker really brought news as much as he was allowed to. Whereas Jesse's, I don't know. I feel like I don't know what's happened to Fox News. I mean, since Tucker's gone, it's really bad. My regular live stream schedule is Friday nights at 7:30 Eastern Standard. Wednesdays we do book club at 10:30 in the morning Eastern, and then once a month we'll be doing Girls Night Out on Saturdays, and that's tomorrow night. And you can only catch it on Rumble. Lady Jex, I wish I could find that. Bill Gates is trying to reduce the chicken pot. Yes, you guys have my permission. Our government wants us dead. Last screen blush. I didn't. Okay, we'll find it. We'll find it. I'll Google it if I have to. I didn't see it on that screen. Lady Jex blushing. You started it. You can't hide from it now. Okay, so on Jesse Waters the other night, he had a psychic on. If you're psychic, I don't care. If you go to psychics, I don't care. It's your life. You do you. I'm a very much live and let live kind of person. But he had them on his primetime news show. he had this lady do a tarot card reading. And I was watching it and I was thinking, what universe did I wake up in? What is going on that we are having tarot card readings on a primetime news show? I, and so she pulls this card that looks like the Grim Reaper, but it's not the Grim Reaper. It's something else. I don't know anything about tarot cards. And it was for Trump. And it was something like, it just meant that he would be looking back at his disappointments or something. It wasn't actually the Grim Reaper card. I can't remember what it was. Something of cups or something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, it caused this big kind of internet stir. And so the way it started was Jesse went to a party. And he talked about this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I think it was the Christmas party. And there was a tarot card reader there, and she read his tarot cards. And he's like, I don't believe in that sort of thing. But, it was funny. And he told a few things that she said. And so I thought that was the end of it. Then he had a tarot card reader on the show. I don't know if it was the same person from the party. She had a delightful British accent, really cute. But I just was like, okay, wait a minute. You like poo-pooed the whole thing that you did it at this party, but now you're having them on your primetime news show. I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was super weird. I don't know if you guys saw it. Here we go. Make sure we can see this over here. Oh, good. It stayed sized right. Okay. Moment psychic tells Fox News' Jesse Waters that Trump is facing a year of loss. That's what it was. A psychic joined Fox News, and this is picked up by the Daily Mail, Jesse Waters, and predicted that former President Donald Trump is set to face a year of loss in 2024. But she went on to say that it, wasn't election. It was looking back at things, that he wished he'd done or something like that. I can't remember how she explained it. Didn't have anything to do with the election, but that's how they're selling it now. Because apparently, if you're rooting against Trump, a tarot card reader is your Trump card. Paula Roberts, also known as the English psychic, told Waters her predictions on his show, Jesse Waters Primetime. Roberts pulled out a bright green card that depicted a figure wearing a black cloak, looking down, as both her and Waters said, "Uh-oh." The New York City-based psychic went on to say that the card symbolizes a sense of loss that is very specific for Trump. It's as if he may be thinking more about what he's lost and not taking full advantage of what he still has, she said. Which, he may be looking at that last election and still bitter over that. I don't know. The former president has been in a whirlwind of legal issues. We know all that. I think that's all it really says about her. Yeah, that's it. But anyway, what do you guys think about that? Like, what do you think is Fox News has come to, where this is what they consider news? They're having tarot card readers on. I just think it's so funny. And like I said, if you told me you went to a tarot card reader, I wouldn't think anything of that. And when he told the story about the party, I didn't think anything of that. But to have one on your primetime news show, I just thought was beyond the pale. Aubrey says, I noticed he has started having guests for fun to lighten the mood. Yeah, Aubrey, that's a really smart point. I noticed that too, where it seems more like he's shticking off Gutfeld, right? So like he's trying to do what Gutfeld does, just with a few guests and things like that. I think you're right. It does. Stephen, no, you don't need to be in the cupboard. He really thinks he does need to be in the cupboard. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like, I don't know. It's just so strange where Tucker Carlson was there and it was hard news, as much as Fox News would allow, but it was news. I mean, you would not have seen that. And so I just thought the whole thing was crazy. Lady Jack's vegan diets. Okay, hold on. I'm looking that up. We got to read it. Vegan diets, Daily Mail. Oh, there it is. All right, we're reading this next. And then we'll just jump into our adult content. Okay, let's share this. Lady Jax for the win. Deborah Ann Christopher says, hold on. I've so enjoyed your live broadcast tonight. Got to hop off now. Have a good night. We'll see you next time around. Okay, here we go. Let's share this. Vegan diets make women hornier. Here we go. Vegan diets thought to boost heart health and help you lose weight, but a fascinating new experiment based on twins. I'm sorry, that joke just writes itself. Thanks a lot, ladies. Okay. I'm hoping you understand the unsaid joke there because it's got me. Has revealed another benefit. They can boost your sex drive. I would guess because beans and spinach and things like that can increase testosterone levels, but so can meat. Research, research based in California found that women who ate an animal free diet for 8 weeks were twice as likely to be turned by porn compared to non vegans. This is the weirdest study. So you've got twins. I guess you're feeding one a regular diet and one a vegan diet, and then showing them both intimate videos and having them rate their react. The whole thing just sounds really weird and sketchy. The study echoes previous research in men that found eating a vegan diet reduces the risk of erectile dysfunction. Experts have previously hypothesized that eating more plants can improve blood flow, which may enhance sexual function. And we know that beets are really good for that. The latest findings were featured in a new Netflix documentary, You Are What You Eat. The series is based on research that follows 22 sets of twins. This is a really small study. As one embarks on a vegan diet for 8 weeks and another on omnivore eating plan. Okay, so they're both on kind of restricted diets. All participants were also encouraged to exercise more than they usually do. This does not sound like a very good study. There's many confounding factors already. Each was subjected to a battery of tests during the intervention to find out how their diets impacted their health. For how many weeks? 8 weeks. 8 weeks. You know what the impact of a diet is on health in 8 weeks. The whole thing sounds pretty sketchy. For the experiment on libido, experts at Stanford University asked 4 women to watch different videos, including adult ones. Lab equipment was used while they watched to measure the temperature of their genitals. Just can't. Lady Jax, I blame you for this. God. So you're all farty and bloated from your vegan burger. You got a thermometer in your hoo-ha. And you're watching adult videos with your twin. Oh my gosh. How did they get people to sign up for this? I just can't. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. First, the participants watched a non arousing documentary on birds. Like, I'm wondering, did they know? Were they like, they're like, we're just going to put this in here. We're going to show you some videos. Like, did they know what was coming at all? Were they just totally in the dark? And they're like, why does the thermometer need to go there? Oh my gosh. Okay, so they watched a non-arousing documentary on birds, as opposed to documentaries on birds that are arousing. We've all seen those, but we just don't talk about it. To assess baseline measurements, next they chose an adult one. This was conducted both at the beginning and the end of the study to assess the impact of the diet in 8 weeks. At the end of the experiment, all 4 of the women, wait a minute, all 4 of the women, I thought it was 22 sets of twins. So there should have been 44. I missed something. Wait, it did say 22, right? Not 2. Yeah, 22 sets of twins. And then it says At the end of the experiment, all 4 of the women, there should have been 44, were more than twice as turned on by the adult video, indicating that exercise alone can boost arousal. Okay, so they don't know that it was the vegan diet. Oh, wait, because they were all turned on. Okay. However, the vegan participants had even better results, increasing their arousal by more than 300. Like, can you tell this from temperature? I mean, is that thing like 500 degrees? I don't know what's going on in the hoo-ha. I don't know what's going on with the bird video. I think this is all very troubling. Previous studies involving surveys have found that people eating a vegan diet report higher sex drive and a more satisfying sex life. I would say the same of people who are carnivore or even keto. It's not clear why, however, experts have previously suggested this could be due to the positive effects of nutrients in vegetables on blood vessels, which improves blood flow to the genitals. All right, well, we can thank Lady Jax for that one. I love you so much. Tina Peters, I've seen Selection Code. Open the door for demonic to show up in his life. It's a scientific study, yeah, as good as science is these days. Who volunteered for this study? Well, I don't know, but it looks like only 4 people made it through to the end, and there were 40. I want to know what happened to the other 40 twins. What happened to them? Where are they? What did this vegan omnivore diet do to them? Were they damaged by the genital thermometer? I don't know. We will never know. I've got to find this study now and read it. I don't think the vegan diet had anything to do with it either, Tennessee. And you have to wonder, like, were they all watching the same adult film? Like maybe one was a little steamier than the other one. And I'm so glad they were watching non-arousing bird documentaries, because those arousing ones, so embarrassing when your husband walks in and you're watching an arousing bird documentary. I about like to have never lived it down. Did they study any 73-year-old twins? Debbie's on board. She's like, bring me a veggie burger. I bet they didn't, Miss Debbie. That is ageism. They don't care about your sex drive. They just left. That's Rashi. A non-arousing bird. Like, doesn't it go without saying that a bird documentary would be non-arousing? Unless you've got some really weird, I don't know, to each his own, I guess. Lady Jack says, my husbands say they consume them. They ate the other 40 people. They were so weak from watching porn and eating veggie burgers and having gas. The other 40 were like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I don't care how much my libido could increase. I can't bear the smell anymore. Oh my gosh. Gabby says, I think Fauci had a hand in this experiment. There's got to be beagles involved at some point. I'm sure of it. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you found that. That was the best story of the day. Okay. So good. That's so good. I couldn't have done better myself on that one. I'm going to have to hire Lady Jags. Aubrey says, oh, I think he knows MSM is going to make whatever headlines they want, so he's instigating. Yeah, I agree. You can see, or at least that's my opinion, that he knows it's a joke and he's trying to keep a straight face. Yeah, I agree. Oh my goodness. Summer says, I've been watching Ben Shapiro and Michael Knowles lately. Yeah, I like both of them. I think Ben's gone a little over the edge, and I understand why, where he's Jewish and has family in Israel. I can see why he has really strong feelings about that. I think it's inappropriate the way he's gone after Candace Owen. She's not really said anything. I don't think that is that controversial, just that genocide is wrong. What do they have, like 8,000 kids that have been killed in Gaza? I mean, there's got to be a better way to do this. They're just in such a hard spot, and they're trying to get the surrounding countries. So around Israel, you've got, I learned geography this year, last year actually. You've got Iraq, you've got Egypt, you've got Syria, you've got Saudi Arabia, Yemen. there's all kinds of Muslim countries right around them that could absorb those refugees, but they refuse to take them because they say the Palestinian people are such a, what do they call that? Um, like they disturb the population so much by, I don't know if it's their culture or what, they just don't want to take them. And to me, that would be the best solution, would be for them to be absorbed into those Muslim countries, where they could live out their faith and not have any issues, and just separate from each other. I think that's the only answer. Um, I don't understand why the bombing has to be in such a way that so many children are being killed. And I understand some of the children are taking up arms. It's a bad situation. That's why I try not to weigh in on it. I think for Ben Shapiro to go after Candace Owens the way he has, for her just saying that, genocide is wrong. Well, genocide is wrong, no matter who it is. If the Palestinians are doing it to the Jews, it's wrong. If the Jews are doing it to the Palestinians, it's wrong. We want to, if you have to fight a war, you want to do as much as you can to preserve innocent life. So I just think it's a really bad spot to be in, and that those two have been in it forever. Has anyone seen the trailer for Lady Ballers? Have you watched it, Aubrey? I watched it. It was actually pretty funny. We enjoyed it. Lady Ballers is on Daily Wire. You can watch it there. And I think we're going to do a watch party soon. There's a movie that just came out, and I'm not going to be able to remember the name of it, but it's free and it's on. It's like a documentary on January 6th with a bunch of the footage that we haven't seen. And since it's free, I think we'll do a watch party on that. I'll have to go back and look and see what the name of it was. But our last watch party went really well. We watched, Dan Bongino and Dinesh D'Souza. What was that last one we watched, guys? Police State. That watch party went really well. We all really enjoyed that. Veggie burgers. Yeah, Ben Shapiro is wound pretty tight. I really like Michael Knowles though. I don't dislike Ben Shapiro. He's just I think he can't see the shades of what's going on because he's so close to it, and I would expect that. So I give him a wide berth there. I try not to attack other podcasters. It's hard enough to do this as it is, and if you're not my enemy, you're my friend. So I mean, unless you're like the Young Turks, I'm not going to talk trash about you. I'm just not. Lady checks. It's all the Jewish guilt. Grew up in a place with a fair amount of Jews. Their guilt is worse than Catholic guilt. Really? I did not know that. Ben Shapiro was left out of 2,000 Mules for a reason. Well, he didn't really buy into all of the election fraud and things like that. Lady Be Good says it's tricky, Hi, sweetheart. The Anons have dug into all the players, and even Candace Owens has a sketchy background. I guess it's all about who's flipped. Well, I mean, Candace Owens was a liberal to begin with. I think any of us, if we had to have the kind of scrutiny that is done when you dig into someone's background, I think, you could make a case against most of us. I look at what she's doing now, and I think she's pretty solid. That's not to say she can't fall or mess up, though. Police State. It was really good. Yeah, it was good. Sound of Freedom would be a great movie to discuss. Yeah, I don't think I can do it and not be emotional, which is why I didn't opt to screen that one. Police State we did, and we only kept it up for the one night because they were still monetizing it. And I think it is still pay-per-view. So I took mine down because you can get in copyright trouble. And it was a little unethical in the way I did that. I'll admit that. But what they said on the website initially was, if more than one person was watching it, then you needed to buy 2 tickets. And then they came back and clarified, and they're like, no, if you've bought a ticket, you don't have to pay for other people to watch. And so I kind of slid into that gray area, but I took it down once we got done watching it, so that anybody else that wanted to watch it later would need to pay for it. But yeah, Lady Ballers was pretty funny, actually. It was hokey, it was kind of Will Ferrell level humor. But I liked it. Yeah, Candace Owens put Crystal Ball in her place. Yeah, she did. And I like that she's calling out this perversion among women, just this, I'm going to be totally naked. I'm going to be fat and make everybody say I'm beautiful. I've been fat. I've been thin. I've been in between. And I understand that being overweight is not healthy. And I don't expect anybody to validate my overweight state and tell me that I'm beautiful in my overweight state. being overweight is a health anomaly. It's not something that we strive for. Does that make you not a beautiful person? Absolutely not. Does it make you not worthy of love and respect? No. But it's a health issue. And that's where I come at it. But she's doing a lot to call out these women that are just half naked all the time. I'm like, put some clothes on. And I can see this younger generation. They did a survey of younger generation asking them what they wanted to see in movies, and they wanted to see friendships. They wanted to see movies about friendship. And I thought, gosh, that's such a sign of loneliness in that population, that's what they need to see. And I think they're so overstimulated sexually. There's just every woman who sings is half naked, and it just gets to the point where you've just seen too much of it. It's like me. I'm a nurse. If I never have to see another ass for as long as I live, it will be too soon. Because I've been oversated with ass. Every person I helped out of bed, their butts hanging out. And I don't care. I love that patient, take care of them. It's just never going to be a turn on for me anymore. Because I've just seen butt in so many bad ways. And I think that's what's happening to our young men is women have gotten so slutty that they just don't want to see it anymore. It's not exciting anymore because you see it. It's everywhere. And, my husband will even say, there's something about a woman who's dressed nicely. He's like, as a guy, yes, you're still wondering what's under there. I wonder, but they like that. They like that mystery of what's under there and wondering and imagining. And when you just put everything out there, then there's none of that mystery. And that mystery is part of what draws you to a person and makes you want to work at getting them to like you and be in a relationship with you. There is that sexual attraction. And when you just can walk, you just turn on your phone, anywhere you want, and it's everywhere. Their boobs are out, their butts are out, their cooch is out, everything's out. I'm like, I don't want to see that. Stop it. That is this intimate unwrapping that is supposed to happen when you're with somebody that you love. It's not supposed to just be on the computer screen. And so it just is cheap and tawdry. I don't like it. But, that's me. But my husband agrees, and he's 63, so I feel like he knows a few things. It's about parentage and the New World Order organizations they were born into. Candace Owens, Crystal Ballroom. Yes, I feel sorry for you. I don't want to see a... Okay, I missed what that one was. All right, let's see what else we got. We're going to wrap it up here. Well, I wanted to read this one thread by Kanakawa. If you guys don't follow Kanakawa the Great, he just does good work. Hold on a second. Let me share that. Make sure you guys can see it. I'll just read it to you. You guys just hang in there. President Trump releases summary of election fraud in the 2020 presidential election in the swing states. And this is, I don't know if he's on Substack. No, this is on Twitter. Just go to Kanakawa the Great and you can read his stuff. It's often been repeated that there's no evidence of fraud in the 2020 election. In actuality, there is no evidence Joe Biden won. And this is interesting. So I heard this lady talking this week, and she was saying that they're bringing, I can't remember what the name of the organization is, but they're bringing lawsuits at the federal level to ask the court if states are required to follow their own election laws, because states are not following their own election laws. And they just want an answer on that. Are they legally bound to follow election laws? Yes or no? And I believe they're going to get a yes on that. Then they can go after them for not following the laws, for not cleaning up their voter rolls, because a federal court will have said, no, they have to abide by these laws. Because right now the election process is such a mess. They're not abiding by their own election rules. And, going after them after an election doesn't seem to be working. So now they're trying to go after them before. And I believe this case is going to be heard soon. They filed it. And I think it's state Supreme Courts. I'm not sure where all that is. I'll have to get some more information. Maybe Kanakawa will go into it. Ongoing investigations in the swing states reveal hundreds of thousands of votes were altered and or not lawfully cast in the presidential election. Joe Biden needed them. On election night, November 3rd, 2020, President Donald J. Trump was sailing to re-election with landslide leads in numerous battlegrounds. In Georgia, President Trump was up by 12 points and over 335,000 votes, with 56% of the vote in at 10:17 p.m. In Wisconsin, President Trump was leading by 121,380 votes and 5 points at 12:12 a.m., which Fox News anchor Bret Baier noted was not a small margin. In Pennsylvania, Trump was leading by 659,154 votes at 12:38 a.m., a full 15 points. In Michigan, President Trump was leading by 293,052 votes and 10 points. You just don't see that go the other way ever. I've never seen it. The election was over. However, precincts in Atlanta, Detroit, Philadelphia, Phoenix, and Milwaukee kept counting until the results reached the desired outcome, which was the opposite of the will of the voters, and it's also the opposite of the law. Georgia went from having a total of 4.7 million votes, already a record for the state, according to Brad Raffensperger's count on November 4th, to certifying almost 5 million votes. This was 300,000 more votes than what the top election officials claimed were cast in the election. So where did those votes come from? Where did 300,000 extra votes come from? Getting to this result in Georgia and other states created an irredeemably compromised election, filled with violations of the Constitution, unlawful ballots, widespread broken chain of custody, electronic manipulation, and missing and corrupted election files that made it uncertifiable and impossible to recreate the results. President Trump was right to voice his objections to what had unfolded before the country's eyes. Republican poll watchers were denied access to the counting in multiple jurisdictions, and ballots were counted in secret in the middle of the night without media or observers present. By law, observers are allowed to be present. Countless irregularities emerged, including reports of ineligible voters, voting machine anomalies, water main breaks, improbable percentages of ballots for Biden, and more. Since investigations across the country have uncovered an avalanche of irregularities, unlawful activity, manipulation of election records, destruction of evidence, and fraud. The findings, which are outcome determinative, are detailed in the summaries of the swing states. So what did we hear? We heard, oh, yes, there may have been fraud, but it wouldn't have been enough to change the outcome. Well, now we're finding out that's not true. Georgia was called by only 11,779 votes. Fulton County, Georgia, the most populous county in the state, has no digital record of all in-person votes cast in its original results. They're required to keep these records on hand for, I think, 2 years. There's no digital record of these votes in Fulton County. 2, not a single ballot purportedly cast during early in-person voting was witnessed to and signed off by poll managers, not a single one, as required by Georgia election rules. Seals were broken and memory cards removed from tabulators for the results of these 315,000 votes, which were printed out on different machines than the ones that tabulated them. This prevented the reconciliation of how many votes were cast on each machine. The ballots' images of these votes, along with the rest of in-person ballots cast on Election Day, were destroyed. It's illegal. Do the states have to follow the law? We need a court to say yes. The vote in Georgia was counted 3 times: the original machine count, a statewide hand count, and a second machine count. Each time the state and Fulton County reported 3 different results. How on earth do you certify that election? Fulton County did not count the same ballots during the original count and the machine recount. There are 19,541 distinct ballots that appear in one machine count, but not the other. Thousands of fraudulent presidential-only ballots were injected into the second machine count, with huge margins favoring Joe Biden. Ballots that are blank, except for the presidential contest, were counted in batches together. How did those get all together? Who sorted those and put them all together? With the pattern appearing in at least 8 counties, including Fulton, this means Georgia did not have the votes to justify its original election results. The second machine count was over 17,000 votes short. Fulton County was instructed to reconcile the results by the Secretary of State and recertified its results without divulging the extent of the vote deficiency to members of the Fulton County Board of Registrations and Elections. Thousands of bogus votes were ultimately added into the election results via the second machine count. This included 20,000, remember there was only a discrepancy of under 12,000 votes. This includes 20,977 unsubstantiated votes of unknown origin. The results were missing 17,852 ballot images and included 3,125 duplicate ballot images that were counted twice. At least 2,871 ballots were counted 2 or 3 times in the second machine count, totaling 6,118 questionable votes. 88% of Fulton County's precincts reported a different total number of votes between the first and second machine count. The only electronic votes that survived from the first count were the mail-in ballots. Since they were tabulated on the high-speed scanner, their ballot images were automatically uploaded to the election server. 90% of these approximately 148,000 absentee ballots cast in Fulton County cannot be authenticated. Ballot images for 132,284 mail-in votes have no SHA file, which is created automatically when a ballot is scanned and used to authenticate the digital image of the vote, lacking evidence they were scanned and tabulated properly or even cast by a real voter. 104,994 ballot image files of the mail-in ballots from the original count contained identical modified timestamps, suggesting electronic manipulation. Fulton County does not know how many voters cast votes, and its lack of basic accounting controls make it impossible to determine who really won. In 2020, according to Philip Stark, a University of California, Berkeley professor who invented risk-limiting audits, Stark noted the electronic records of the election are not intact. 376,863 ballot images are missing from the first machine count, which includes all in-person votes in Fulton County. They're all missing. All in-person votes in Fulton County, the ballot images, are completely missing, and this is okay. Raffensperger says this was a good election. None of the 315,000 votes cast during early voting in Fulton County were witnessed to and signed by the poll manager and 2 poll workers as required by state election rules. None of them. The closing tapes for these votes are all unsigned, showed more tabulated votes than the tabulators had recorded as scanning in their protective counters, and recorded improbably low percentages for President Trump. For example, President Trump received only 0.9%, 2.4%, 3.7% from some of the tabulators, as if he was a third-party candidate or in a third-world country. The anomalies indicate ballots were not scanned on the tabulators that printed the closing tapes, making the closing tapes fraudulent. Tabulators used in Fulton County during early voting had their seals broken, and memory cards were reprogrammed and inserted into different scanners to count absentee ballots in violation of election rules. This made it impossible to reconcile the true number of votes tabulated on the machines from the start of the election to the end of counting. 235,000 absentee ballots were requested and accepted too early prior to the lawful date, 180 days before the 2020 election, which was May 6, 2020. These votes should have never been counted. 4,081 false votes for Joe Biden were included in the hand count audit results for Fulton County. The false votes were the result of 36 accounting errors, which were confirmed by Governor Brian Kemp's office and investigators working for the Secretary, Brad Raffensperger. Yet they have never been removed from the official hand count results. These errors alone would reduce the margin to 7,698 votes. The hand count audit included 3,935 unaccounted for votes due to 11 missing batch sheets in Fulton County. Differences from the original count to the hand audit total at least 15,690 votes, which is more than the entire election margin. This includes the 4,081 false Biden votes plus missing votes discovered in Gwinnett, 1,600, Fayette, 2,700, Floyd, 2,700, Douglas, 293, and Walton, 284, that were likely due to machine counting errors. Thousands of pristine, unfolded absentee ballots were counted during the hand count in Fulton, according to at least 6 witnesses, which is the subject of ongoing litigation. These absentee ballots had no folds and went 98% to Joe Biden. These were added in a fraudulent manner. Fulton County certified 59,143 in-person votes on Election Day, despite the fact that only 14,152 people had voted as of 5 p.m. on November 3rd. Evidence suggests that the in-person vote total on Election Day was inflated by approximately 37,000 votes, as records show no rush to the polls during the final 2 hours of voting, and a screenshot of the in-person Election Day results shared by a government contractor showed only 21,843 people voted at the polls on November 3rd. Yet somehow they recorded 37,000. Fulton County ordered over 1 million absentee ballots days before the 2020 election without any envelopes and the time necessary to mail. There were only 808,680 active voters in Fulton County as of November 1st, 2020, meaning the county had more blank mail-in ballots than the number of registered voters, and ordered them after the vast majority of mail-in ballot requests had already been sent to voters by who? Runbeck Election Services. An estimated 30,000 to 92,000 illicit votes were trafficked in Georgia as part of a massive ballot trafficking operation discovered by True the Vote. There were 364,000 ineligible voter registrations on the rolls during the 2020 election, and likely 67,000 votes were cast from voters with invalid residency. Massive manipulation of the Georgia voter rolls. This goes on and on. This is Kanakoa. It is an excellent read. They've got all of the citations. And so I would recommend this to you if you've got anybody who still hasn't opened out the election and can hear truth. So many people can't. But just what a great summary he's done there. Check our chat here. Yeah, I like Megyn Kelly. Douglas Murray, I don't know. Yeah, there should only be there should be absentee voting. So if you're out of the country, you're in the military, you're an invalid, whatever, then you could absentee ballot. But there's no questions. That's coming up for a vote here in Kentucky, I think. They're trying to stop the no questions asked absentee ballot. What's going on with that? I need to look more into it. Hi, PJ. Yeah, Badlands. Tina Peters is on Badlands. Tennessee woman says, still anytime CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS talk about the 2020 election, they call Trump's claim of election fraud the big lie. Yeah, well, I mean, if you say it enough, it's true, right? Sister took elderly, this is from PJ, sister took elderly mother to vote in Fulton County. They tried to tell her she had already voted via mail-in. She did not. My sister raised hell to get her to vote in person. The BS is real. Well, and you know what they do? They just set that aside as a provisional ballot, and they don't count it unless the election is in question. A lot of people don't know that. In Colorado, Gabby says the 20 election data is being deleted and then replaced. Yeah. Yep. Awful. I don't know how people can't see it. I think because they don't want to see it. And I think there's fatigue. People are just so tired of hearing about it. That's my concern, that if Trump gets into office and really starts cleaning house, I don't think Americans are wusses. I'm sorry, in large amount. They don't have, this is why he didn't go after Hillary Clinton, because American people don't have the stomach for it. They just don't. They want to be left alone. They don't want a bunch of drama going on. They don't like the boat rocking. They just want everything to go back to normal. And I don't think a lot of people realize that's probably never going to happen. And so just the whole thing is a mess. I don't know how we fix it. All right. That is that one. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about Ozempic. I've been harping on about it, and I really got into researching it this week because my brother's doctor wanted to put him on it, even though his blood sugars are maintained well. And I'm like, why would we go on this really expensive drug when his sugars are well maintained on drugs that have a long safety record? And she's like, well, it could bring down his cholesterol too. I'm like, how about we try some fish oil? Let's not get crazy here, because I've got some real issues with Ozempic, semaglutide drugs as a whole. There's several of them. And so now, in addition to gastroparesis, which is paralysis of your intestines, which keeps you from being able to digest, to eat food, so you would need a feeding tube, FDA is looking into reports of hair loss, suicidal thoughts in people using popular drugs for diabetes and weight loss. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is evaluating reports of side effects such as hair loss and suicidal thoughts in people taking medications like Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Wegovy. These drugs, known as GLP-1 receptor agonists, are approved to treat diabetes or weight loss. They're also looking at them for addiction, OCD, depression. I mean, they're really pushing the scope of this drug. They mimic GLP-1, a hormone made naturally in the body whose role includes slowing the passage of food through the stomach. And this is how some people are ending up with gastroparesis. And it's not reversible. They get off the drug and they still have gastroparesis. The FDA is evaluating the need for regulatory action after its FDA Adverse Events Report System, or FAERS, received reports of alopecia or hair loss, aspiration, or accidentally breathing in things like food or liquid, and suicidal ideation. And I'm guessing that's the motility issue, where you're getting gastroparesis and the bowel is not moving the way it is. You also have peristalsis, squeezing of the throat to get food down. And if it's affecting neurologically the ability of those muscles to squeeze, then you're going to have things like aspirating liquids and foods when you're trying to swallow, and suicidal ideation. Anyway, I think since this came out, like right on the heels of it, this came out January 4th. I think it was like the same day they came out and they're like, oh no, we looked, there's no link. I'm like, wow, that was a long investigation. Careful there, don't get crazy. I think they did more investigating with the vegan libido, vegan burger lady twin libido study. Seems like it was more comprehensive. But anyway, that's that one. If you're taking that drug, or you're considering taking it, or you know someone who's taking it, I would just be very cautious, because it looks like the gastroparesis is not reversible. And I'm seeing lawsuits, class action suits, that are starting to form around that. Make sure we're caught up here. They're replacing election data with fraudulent election data. Yeah. I think he will be back in office. I'm almost scared to even say anything about it, lest I jinx it, as though I have that much power. I like to dream. Okay. We did that one. I think we've only got 2 more here. All right, let's do this one, and we'll do the honey trap here in a minute. All right. So New Jersey apparently has had enough of New York shipping their migrants to them, and they are putting, there it is. They're putting an end to it. Let me make sure we're on the right one. Yes. New Jersey cops are putting migrants on New York City-bound trains as the beef between the states heats up. Exclusive photos show how New Jersey is systematically shepherding asylum seekers onto New York City-bound trains in the middle of the night, as Mayor Eric Adams' plea for neighboring municipalities to help with the migrant crisis falls on deaf ears. I mean, don't be a sanctuary city if you don't want immigrants. I don't know what to tell you about that. The images capture New Jersey transit cops escorting migrants arriving in Trenton from Texas off their buses and onto trains bound for Manhattan's Penn Station, from where they then head to the city's main intake center. The Garden State's move to avoid the out-of-control migrant mess sparked the ire of at least one Big Apple politician whose borough has been inundated with hotels housing asylum seekers. New Jersey, and it's so funny because they're mad at Greg Abbott, but they're not mad at President Biden. I'm like, he's the one who could control the border, but he's got border guards down there cutting down razor wire and taking down wall, and they're not there to stop immigrants from coming across. They're there to help process them and get them in. I mean, that's just a fact. The Garden State's move to avoid the out-of-control migrant mess sparked the ire of at least one Big Apple politician whose borough had been inundated. New Jersey absolutely should do something, Queensboro President Donovan Richards, a close Adams ally, told the Post on Thursday. New Jersey is going to have to be part of the solution, he continued. Are you going to put people on trains to New York forever? What if the migrants refuse to get on the train? Is New Jersey going to arrest them? They want to. They're there illegally. Why would you not be able to arrest them? The busload of asylum seekers touching down in Trenton at around 10:50 p.m. Wednesday had no qualms about being escorted to New York City, according to the photos. New Jersey transport cops met them as they got off the bus and provided them with instructions before leading them to a transit center and put on board Manhattan-bound trains at around 11:20. The trains arrived at Penn Station around 2:30 a.m. Thursday. From there, the migrants got into waiting cars that transported them to the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown, which has pretty much been destroyed by the immigrants. The hotel has served as the primary intake center for the more than 162,000 migrants who have arrived in the 5 boroughs since spring of 2022, primarily from Texas. Adams began cracking down on the charter bus companies. Now he's trying to sue the charter bus companies for just providing a service that they were contracted to provide. I don't see that lawsuit going anywhere. But he's not a mental heavyweight either. It has worked so far from our perspective, but not from Eric Adams' perspective, Trenton Mayor Reed Gushora told the Post about the executive order. This is a national problem that needs to be resolved at a national level. Absolutely, absolutely. I do think it is kind of ironic to watch them piss and moan about this when they were the ones that, were riding Texas about all the problems that they were having. So I say suck it up. PJ says we are being straight up invaded and paying for it too. Yeah, yeah. Well, and now they're saying that in California and Maryland, I think, is that right? That they're going to start giving them free health benefits. I'm like, my husband works 50 hours a week, doesn't have health benefits. Not that he can afford. Pope Smokes. Oh my goodness. Hello, love. I haven't seen you in forever. I'm so pleased that you're here. We're almost done. Okay, so as long as we're on that, let's go to the TSA. We have this one and one more. TSA director. TSA director arrested by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. And just wait till you hear what a delightful person this is. An official with Transportation Security Administration has been arrested on an outstanding warrant. TSA Assistant Federal Security Director Maxine McManaman, was arrested in Atlanta by U.S. Customs and Border Protection on December 28th. She had a warrant for her arrest posted by the St. Lucie County, Florida Sheriff's Office, which claimed she and an alleged accomplice named Delroy Chambers Sr. exploited a relative suffering from dementia by falsifying documents in their name, according to Port St. Lucie police. Lucci? The Florida authorities alleged that the duo forged signatures on a quitclaim deed transferring ownership of a property and the relative's name over to themselves. The relative whose property was transferred to McManaman and Chambers allegedly could not have signed the quitclaim deed because the individual was found to have been in Atlanta on the date listed, according to police. Chambers was previously arrested on December 20th in Port St. Lucie. Let me know if I'm saying that wrong. Of course, how would you tell me if I can't hear you? Charged with 2 counts of exploitation of an elderly or disabled adult, simple neglect, and 2 counts of forgery. He eventually bonded out of jail. McManaman is facing 3rd-degree felony charges for the forgery. She was reportedly apprehended after touching down in Atlanta from an international flight. McManaman has been an employee of the TSA since November 2002 and held a management-level position at the airport. TSA holds its employees to the highest professional and ethical standards, blah, 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 blah. The spokesperson added, any employee who fails to meet our fundamental ethical standards is held accountable. How about any employee who defrauds their dementia-riddled loved one out of their house? They clean it up. Fundamental ethic problems. No, you're a thief, and to your own family. I mean, what would you do to us? She's currently being held at Clayton County Jail. I hope they throw the book at her. Terrible. I have guardianship of my brother, and I take it very seriously, and I can't even imagine taking what belongs to him and taking it as my own. As a disabled person, you have so little anyway, and to defraud them, to what is that called? To exploit them. I just, people make me sick. And that one really hit home with me for that reason. Razish says, why government take care of homeless people first before letting more people here? Exactly. Why would you do that? Why are you not taking care of why are we not providing more services to people with addiction? Why are we not providing services to homeless vets, homeless families, kids who aren't getting enough to eat? It's like taking strange children into your house by the hundreds and your own children starving. You just wouldn't do that. It's not biblical at all, for one thing. We have an illegitimate government. That's why the globalists paid. Yes, we do. Tennessee woman rushes, especially our veterans, especially our veterans, especially our veterans. And nobody cares about them after everything that they've done for our country. All right, last one. This is the adult one that I warned you about. I saved it for the end. I try to save them for after 9. And here we go. High-end sex ring in Boston and D.C. area was a honeypot scheme by Russia. Wait a minute. Make sure you guys can see it. You can. By Russia, China, South Korea, or even Israel to ensnare U.S. officials, intelligence experts believe. Investigators believe a network of high-end brothels operating in the Boston and D.C. areas was a honey trap to ensnare politicians and government officials. But whether the plot was intended to aid Russia, China, South Korea, or even Israel remains to be determined. Clients, believed to include members of Congress, military officials, and national security contractors, have not yet been unmasked and charged. This is what I mean when I say I think a lot of stuff is going to spill out in 2024. I think they've overplayed their hand so much. There's so much corruption that you can't keep it quiet anymore. If you want to do something and keep it a secret, only 2 people need to have to know, and you need to kill one of them. It's the only way. And when you've got corruption this big, it eventually is going to come out. I think it's interesting, and I wonder what all is at work that so much of it is spilling out right now. I don't know if the people leaking information were waiting for this time. I don't know. I don't know if people, I think maybe it's a combination of things. I think some people on the inside are just so fed up at what they're seeing that they're leaking and spilling information. I think some of it is people are upset with the Biden administration. They're upset with the swamp. They're upset with swampy Republicans, and they're leaking it all out just because they're pissed off. And then I think some of it might be operatives in place that, kind of have this agreement that at some point they're going to spill. And I don't know if the timing, it just is interesting, the timing that it's all coming out. You've got one thing that's coming out that's validating another thing that you couldn't have validated it without that thing coming out. So I just think it's really interesting. And I think the leaks are going to get bigger and bigger, and more people are going to get caught up in it. And I think it's going to be harder and harder to keep it quiet. They believe the brothels, allegedly masterminded by a 41-year-old South Korean woman, targeted politicians, high-ranking government officials, and defense contractors. Having the Koreans out front could have been a false flag to give China or another country plausible deniability if the plot unraveled. A one-time CIA senior operations officer told Daily Mail. The brothels were raided in November, and prosecutors said they were looking to charge 28 people in Massachusetts. These are probably 2 of the twins from the vegan study, and those boobs don't look real at all. So 3 units at the 90 Fawcett Street 3 units at 90 Fawcett Street in Cambridge, Massachusetts. 87 New Street, Unit 206 in Cambridge. 77 New Street, Unit 210 in Cambridge, and 66 Bond Street, Unit 221 in Watertown. My voice is getting weak. In D.C., we've got 1500 West Branch Drive, Unit 649, Tysons, Virginia. 2895 District Avenue, Unit 245, Fairfax, Virginia. So Joshua Levy, the acting U.S. attorney for the state, said his office will seek accountability for the buyers who fuel the commercial sex industry. Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. There was no evident motive to establish 2 cat houses in the greater Washington area, sources noted emphatically. Oh, I'm sure. None of the 3 defendants live anywhere near the Capitol, and sex workers were flown in from Los Angeles or Las Vegas. So I always wonder about that. You're flying sex workers in from, is that because people called in sick, or because they're infamous for their talents, or you just, I don't know, how does that work? Like, how do you get recruited from another state to come in and do it? Han Lee, the alleged mastermind, Jun Myung Lee, 30, and James Lee, 68, all South Korean born U.S. nationals, were charged in November with running the sex ring. The three Lees are not related. Han and Jun Myung both live in the Boston area, so the locations of four of the brothels there made sense. James lives in Torrance, a suburb of Los Angeles, so maybe that's how they got in then. Members of Congress, military members. Anyway, it just goes on and on about that. None of the clients have been identified or charged so far, but they could soon be unmasked after federal prosecutors last month announced they are seeking criminal charges. See, I just wonder, where that's going to go with Merrick Garland. I mean, they should have impeached that guy when they had the chance. Um, I just don't. I don't see. I'll just be surprised if any of it's released. If it's released, I think it'll be strategically to bring down people who are causing trouble. I don't think it'll be a fair release. Good Lord. That's apparently Tina. Extramarital affairs and sexual promiscuity and deviance are other helpful vulnerabilities, which is why honeypots are a time-honored practice of intelligence agencies. Girls, don't get involved in this. I know most of my audience is older and probably not up for looking for that kind of work. But if you're watching and you're younger, don't get involved in a honeypot. Anyway, we'll see what happens with this, if anything comes of it. Whoa, hold on. I got to catch up here. Yes, we were taken over from within. PJ says we have free speech options now. We didn't know we didn't have in the last election. Yeah. Whenever I talk to people, more and more of them are aware of Rumble and are getting their information there. That's good. We need to spread the truth to let others know about Rumble. Yeah, we're trying. Some people listen, some people don't. Yeah, that's why we still keep our channel. I imagine at some point the channel will get taken down on YouTube, just because I'm bound to piss somebody off there. I've got a warning, but I don't have any strikes yet. But they really hid me from view from the time I got the warning. I was really growing fast. Like I went to 1,000 subscribers within like the first 2 or 3 months of being on YouTube, which is quick. And then I added, I think I've got another 1,000. But my content just doesn't get seen. I think it's logged, down in the algorithm somehow. But what are you going to do? So I don't worry a whole lot about Rumble. That's why we're going. So tomorrow night we'll do Girls Night Out. It starts at 7:30 Eastern, with me and Freaky Frida. And I know Frida because she was our realtor, and I just came to love her. And we're friends with her and her husband George. At some point, we want to do date night where we have the guys on, because the guys are funny too. But for now, we'll have Frida on. She'll be on once a month, probably the first Saturday of the month. And tomorrow night is our first night, so I would like you guys to join us for that, because I think it'll be a lot of fun. And we'll just see how long it goes. We don't want to wear Miss Frida out. I don't know that she's got the stamina that I do to just talk and talk and talk. But she and I seem to do pretty well, so we'll see how that goes. Her bird Cece will be on too. She has what are those white birds with the big plumage on their head that they can stand up? Are they cockatoos? Anyway, she's got Cece. And so I'm hoping Cece will make an appearance and do some talking. And I just think it's going to be a really fun show. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to do our tech check at 6:30, and then we'll go live at 7:30 Eastern. So please join us for that, because I'm really looking forward to it. If you have missed the last 3 episodes of Book Club, you can go back and listen to those while you're driving or cleaning house or, whatever it is you do. The book is really good. I think my story features in chapter 10 or 11. We're not quite there yet. I think we're on chapter 7. But you can go back and listen. I read the stories and then we do some discussion after, or read the chapters. We do some discussion after. But we do that Wednesday mornings at 10:30 Eastern. We go till about 12:30, and the chapters are kind of long, so we've only been able to get 2 chapters in per show. With the Jonathan Kahn books that we read, we were able to get like 6 or 7 chapters in, but these are long. But I'm really enjoying the book. If you've not listened in yet, it's really good. You can go back and listen. They're all on my Rumble channel. They're on YouTube as well. Yes, if you're here, do me a favor, all together right now. Let's everybody pause. Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube and you can watch it on Rumble. It's in both places, Summer. 10:30 Eastern, it's live, so you can comment, and I try to save the comments for the end, or for like breaks in the chapter so that we're not stopping and answering comments in the middle of reading. And then I add some of my own story and my own insights about my near-death experience. So it's a good show. People are really enjoying it. I'm getting a lot of good feedback about it. I'm really happy about it. It doesn't have the numbers that the Friday night show has, but it has really loyal viewers. And that's really important to me, that my viewers are engaged and, feel like they can reach out to me. I'm getting a lot of people reach out to me for prayer, and, they're struggling with different things and they're studying near-death experiences for answers to some of their faith questions. So I've been able to make an impact there, which is really important to me. But anyway, join us for book club Wednesdays at 10:30 Eastern, Friday Night Lives at 7:30, and then the first Saturday of the month with Girls Night Out and Freaky Frida. But that's all I've got for tonight. Let me make sure I've got all the comments. Debbie says I'd have to eat a shipload of veggies to be a honeypot at 73. Well, if you watch some of those erotic bird documentaries, Debbie, you might be able to get on board there. That's what you're missing. Bird porn, that's what you're missing. PJ says keep Screwtube and Flakebook to pirate viewers as long as you can. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. PJ, you're so smart. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing the shows on Facebook and YouTube, hoping I can win people over to Rumble, because I'd rather not do either of those platforms. Gabby says attend gun shows. It's not about guns. It's about connecting with fellow patriots in person. Hey, if you're not into guns, attend comedy shows. JP, Awaken with JP. What is his last name, guys? JP, the red-haired guy, long red hair, does a lot of political satire. We went and saw him, and he's really good. Jim Brewer, wonderful patriot. There's all kinds of comedians who are great patriots, and it's really fun. When we went to the JP Sears, when we went and saw JP Sears, we had to stand outside and wait for them to open the doors so we could get in. And there were all these people standing outside. It was when COVID was still going on, but things were opening up. And I was absolutely like giddy. And I'm like, Don, all these people around us believe what we believe. And it was just so exciting to be in the presence of people who knew what was going on. And I couldn't help but talk to him. Poor Don was so embarrassed. I'm talking to the guy behind us, and I'm like, hi, I'm so excited to be here. Are you excited to be here? It's so great to be out. And with fellow patriots, and I just felt like I wanted to get everybody's phone number, but it just felt like home, being in a room with people who were like-minded, who understood what was going on, who didn't have an agenda other than let's save this country. The thing about, you can judge people's motives by who they benefit. If your motives only benefit you or a very small group of people, and you're beating down other people to achieve those motives, then you're on the wrong end of things. I feel like the people who have woken up to the swamp, which includes the left and the right, politicians, or politicians on the left and the right, I feel like those of us who realize that this is a uniparty in a swamp and that they do not have our best interest in mind. I mean, when Congress is making billions of dollars on insider trading, they're not going to that job to represent you and I. They're going to that job to get rich. And we need term limits. It needs to stop. The insider trading needs to be illegal. You can't do it. Martha Stewart will go to jail for it. But Nancy Pelosi, Dan Crenshaw, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene even made the list. She says it has something to do with her son's investments. So we'll give her a little while to speak on that. Mitch McConnell, I mean, they're disgusting. It's just so awful. PJ says smash the like button. Yes, while we're all here in this last minute before I pray us out, would you guys please press the like button for me? If you're watching on your TV, all you got to do is go to rumble.com, Nurse Penny, click on my video real quick, and click on the like button. The like button helps bring us up in the algorithm. You can have 1 million subscribers, but if people don't like your videos, you're kind of Rumble is blind to you. You won't get any channel recommendations. You won't be an editor's pick. You won't get on the list of channels. I've asked them many times, look, there are people on the list of suggested channels that have thousands of viewers and not one video. Why can I, with over 100 videos, I don't know how many now, get on that channel list? What do I have to do to get on that featured channel list? And there's people with viewers less than I have that are on the list, and I can't get on it. So please hit the like button. I think it can't be based on likes for the people who have no videos. I don't know how they're getting on there. Maybe because they're a recognizable name and Rumble's trying to pull people with that. But please smash the like button. It really means a lot to me. It's free. Pope Smoke says you're looking well from the last time we have seen you. You had some arm issue or neck. Yeah, I had shoulder surgery. Actually, I've been on. I've not been gone that long. Pope Smokes. I had stomach surgery in December, the beginning of December, and so I was off of Friday nights for a month. But we've been back with book club for 3 weeks now. But yeah, much better. You're writing me an email right now. Well, thank you. I hope your life is going well and things are good with the missus. And if you live near Amish community, yeah, we know our local farmers. We've got different farm co-ops and stuff that we're connected with. Sears? JP Sears, yeah. No, not Morgan. And yes, they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt. I have no respect. There's maybe, I don't know if I could name 8 politicians that I respect. Isn't that sad? I don't think I could name 8. Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, though he kind of gives me the willies a little bit. I'll give MTG a pass because she does decent work. Johnson, but I think he's retiring. Massey from Kentucky, I like him. Rand Paul's okay. But his wife invested in remdesivir during the clinical trials before she shouldn't have known about it. So that's insider trading. They lost money on it, but still. I really like Thomas Massey for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's just not many of them that I think are any count. I was trying to think if there's any Democrats. I just don't know a lot of them. The ones I know are terrible, so I guess I don't look any further than that. There may be some good ones. But anyway, the only political group that is loyal is the Freedom Caucus, only about 30 members. Yeah, but I think the Freedom Caucus was, weren't they pushing for McCarthy? I was so glad McCarthy got out of there. I don't know if this new guy's much better. I mean, he approved the omnibus spending, so, I mean, they're just, oh, D. Brewer, you did get here late. Where was the food guide stuff? I don't know what food guide stuff you're talking about. We were talking about the vegan stuff. You can go back and re-listen. We talked about there was a study on twins, on 22 sets of twins, so 44 twins, that apparently only 4 twins finished, on if a vegan diet could improve your libido. And then we talked about vegan food being high calorie, very processed, but that's the only real food stuff we went over. Heard a bunch of reps in Florida are suddenly leaving now that they're required to show income sources. Okay, so the rest of the story with that one is they're required to document anything that they own that has a value of $1,000 or more. They're required to tell what guns they have. It ended up being a real invasion of privacy. I actually don't think I would, because a lot of those people in those council positions are volunteers. And so to be in a volunteer position and have to tell what guns you have. I mean, the government's not allowed to make a list. They do it all the time. And several Florida judges have done it, made lists of guns, of who owns guns, which is totally illegal. But they were having to reveal everything that they owned. So, if you have a TV that's worth more than $1,000, you have to list that. And I just think that's invasive. I don't think that's necessary, especially for a position, a city council position that a lot of people aren't being paid for. It's just a volunteer thing. So I think you should have to reveal anything that you get that's $1,000 or more in value from a company that would constitute a conflict of interests. So say there's a garbage company that wants to take over sanitation for the city, and there's 4 of them, and they're all competing for the contract, and then one garbage company gifts you a $1,200 TV. Well, yes, I think you should have to report that because that's a conflict of interest. They're trying to influence you in obtaining that governmental contract. That's fine. I think that's okay. But if I go out and buy, a little car for my kid to putt around in that's $2,000, I don't think I should have to reveal that. If I go and buy a firearm, I don't think I should have to tell you about that either. Um, if I go spend $1,000 on ammunition, I don't think that's anybody else's business. Now, as far as gifts and things like that, absolutely. But I just think it goes too far. And I think you're going to run a lot of good people out doing that. I always liked hearing Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy. Is Kennedy's the older guy that's got all the funny Kennedyisms, he's like that, that and an overweight duck will get you. I mean, he's always something like that. He cracks me up. Isn't it John? Joe? What is his name? What car is $2,000? LOL, just playing. You get an old beater for your kid. You used to be able to do that. When my kids were young, you could still do it, but my kids are in their mid-20s to 30s. But anyway, that's all I've got for you guys tonight. I will see you tomorrow night on Girls Night Out at 7:30 Eastern, and Wednesday for book club at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's show is 7:30 p.m. And then let me pray us out. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day and for this time to get together with everybody and just laugh. Thank you for Lady Jex and her suggestion for an article to read. That just made my night. I was having a sore throat, not feeling super great, and that just totally perked me up. I just thank you for humor and for my viewers who are just friends to me. They're not just viewers. I thank you for everybody who hit the like button, for everybody who didn't hit the like button. I pray that you grant them mercy. And Father, I just thank you for this platform, and I hope that you would help me be your salt and light to the world, because this is a really tough place for people now, and I want to be a help spiritually, mentally, and emotionally to people. Father, most of all, we thank you for your son, Jesus. It's in his name we pray. Amen. All right, guys, I love you whole big bunches. Thank you so much. Hi, Christopher Sandman. Thank you, whole big bunches, for joining me. I'm so excited to see you guys tomorrow. And you can help me warmly welcome Miss Frida and to the Nurse Penny fold. I'm so excited about that. But we will see you guys soon. I love you whole big bunches. Nurse Penny out.